Please give me a go ahead when we are going live. So as you can hear us, this Zoom session has a capacity of 1,000 people. So if somehow this capacity is reached at Zoom, we are also live at our LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook channels. And we will post that link in the WhatsApp group also. So in case you are not able to join us in Zoom or the Zoom session seems full, please join at the social media handles. We already have 400 plus participants. That's a great number.
Yes, Swati, we are live on the social media also. You can start.
Yes, thank you, Satish. And a formal welcome to one and all here, all the dignitaries, speakers, and the participants. We are overwhelmed with the response, and now we feel the responsibility to make these sessions really, really good and useful for all of us. So let's start with seeing the video of the initiative.
Welcome to the Pulse series, a year-long training program that includes 25 online learning sessions on Revised Schedule M for pharmaceutical professionals and companies. Revised Schedule M sets forth the essential guidelines and standards for the pharmaceutical manufacturing process, ensuring the production of safe and effective medicines. It reflects the latest advancements and regulatory requirements critical to our industry. Compliance with Revised Schedule M is not just a regulatory requirement, it is a commitment to quality, safety, and efficacy. Adhering to these standards enhances the credibility and reliability of your products, fostering trust with healthcare professionals and patients. With these sessions, we will learn the intricacies of Revised Schedule M, featuring insights from industry experts, interactive discussions, and practical guidelines. You'll gain invaluable knowledge to implement and maintain compliance within your operations. Get ready to engage, learn, and elevate your professional standards. We are here to support you every step of the way. Welcome to the journey of excellence with Revised Schedule M.
Thank you so much. Let's start this journey of learning and all. Formally, let me welcome everyone. Good morning. I'm Swati from PharmaState Academy. Welcome back to the second session of our comprehensive series on the Revised Schedule M. I hope you all found the first session on overview and implementation plan insightful and beneficial. And we are engaging with now 2,000 plus pharma professionals in the WhatsApp groups. And we are trying our best to, progress the learning culture, engaging you in various polls, case studies and all. And really, really overwhelmed with the responses. Also, the details for third session onwards would be communicated soon. So please stay with us. Please stay in those groups and be in touch with us. Formally, today we delve deeper into critical aspect of the Revised Schedule M, the Pharmaceutical Quality System, PQS. As you know, a robust PQS is the backbone of any pharmaceutical manufacturing operation, ensuring product quality, safety, and efficacy. We have an esteemed panel of experts joining us today who will share their valuable insights and experiences. And I'm confident that this particular session will be full with actionable knowledge to enhance your organization quality management system. Before we start, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the major industry associations who have extended their unwavering support to this Pulse initiative. So just quickly sharing what is in store for us today and who all are supporting the initiative. We will have welcome address, keynote address by Dr. Umesh. Then we will have a very deep discussion and deep dive by Dr. Ranjit into the PQS and a panel discussion. And most importantly for me, it is an open Q&A with panelists, Mr. Harish and more dignitaries. We will have closing remarks with from Mr. AVPS Chakrabarti. And our sincere thanks to the supporting associations, CP, Laghu Udyog Bharti, IPMMA, Karnataka Drugs and Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association, Federation of MP Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Himachal Drug Manufacturers Association, RPMA, the Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association of Tamil Nadu, Drug Manufacturers Association. Also thanking our knowledge partner, Trillium, Dr. Sanjeet, and media partner, Express Pharma. Moving ahead, My deepest gratitude to Mr. Harish Jain, President of FOPE, and the proactive team at FOPE, Mr. Arjun, Mr. Prajita, and Mr. Sunil, for coordination and prompt action in this comprehensive learning program. We are also grateful to 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗃 for sponsoring the session today. They are our sponsors for today. Without further ado, let's begin our session with a disclaimer. I'll read out this disclaimer. The content provided in this session is for informational and educational purposes only. The views expressed by the speakers and panelists are their own and do not necessarily represent the views of PharmaState Academy or FOPE. Participants are encouraged to seek professional advice for specific issues related to the revised Schedule M. I would now pause and invite Mr. Sanjay Gupta, General Secretary, FOPE, and Managing Director at 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗃 Pharmaceuticals Private Limited, to give a welcome address. Welcome, Mr. Sanjay.
Thank you, Dr. Swati. Thank you for inviting me on this discussion on this session. Let me introduce properly. I'm the Managing Director of 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗃 Pharmaceuticals, which is into domestic business, CDMO business, and export business. And I would like to thank you, Dr. Umesh, Dr. Swati, Dr. Ranjit, our President, FOPE President, Mr. Harish Jain, our Sunil Ahuja, Mr. 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗃, and all PharmaState Academy who are participant or joining today in this forum. I want to take a moment to discuss an essential component of modern pharma business operations nowadays. We can take it pharma quality management systems. We can quality management system is a structured framework that organization use to manage and improve the quality of their products and services. At its core, QMS is about consistently meeting customer expectations and regulatory requirements while continually enhancing process. The foundation of a QMS, like its key principles, first, if we say customer focus. The primary goal of any QMS is to meet and exceed customer expectations. If we are able to be at par on the customer expectations, it is primary requirement nowadays. By understanding customer needs and integrating their feedback, organizations can ensure that their products or services deliver real value to the customer. Leadership. Second, I will take to leadership. Strong leadership is crucial for setting clear objective, providing directions, and forecasting, fostering a culture of quality. Leaders must commit to quality and inspire their team to uphold these standards. Third, engagement of people. Every member of an organization has a role in quality. Engaging employees at all levels ensures that everyone contribute to the system's effectiveness and understand the importance of their role in achieving quality goals. Process approach. Quality management emphasizes managing activities as processes, where each process is monitored and optimized. This approach helps in identifying inefficiencies, reducing wastages, and ensuring that all processes contribute to the overall quality objectives. Improvement. Continuous improvement is a hallmark of a successful QMS. By regularly reviewing performances and seeking ways to enhance processes, organization can adapt a change and drive innovations. Evidence-based decision-making. Decision should be based on the analysis of data and information. The approach ensures that actions are informed in effective leadership to better outcomes. Relationship management. Maintaining good relationship with suppliers and partners is vital. QMS ensures that these relationships are managed effectively to achieve mutual benefits and enhance the overall quality of the product or services. Implementing a QMS is not just about meeting standards. It is about building a culture in the organization that values quality at every level. It involves commitment, ongoing efforts, and a willingness to embrace changes. In doing so, the organization not only achieve compliance, but also gain a competitive edge, improve customer satisfaction, and drive long-term success. If I take a conclusion, a well-implemented quality management system is a powerful tool that can transform an organization. It fosters A culture of excellence drives continuous improvement and ensures that the quality of product and services constantly meet the highest standards. Hope detail on QMS is next session, next speaker. But if I see small points I have shared with you on QMS, thank you for inviting me or on this forum.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjay. And a good start to the session. We are already talking about quality. That's a good start, sir. Thank you so much. And now I will invite our chief guest for today to deliver the keynote address. We have Dr. Umesh S., Additional Drugs Controller from Karnataka, as our chief guest. He holds a PhD in regulatory affairs, underscoring his deep understanding of the pharmaceutical regulatory landscape. His journey in the pharmaceutical industry commenced in 1995 as a junior chemist at the Drugs Testing Laboratory in Bangalore. Subsequently, he transitioned into drug inspection, serving in various capacities across Karnataka, including key roles at the Regional Office Bangalore and as a member secretary of the Board of Examining Authority. Dr. Umesh S.'s extensive experience in drug regulation, coupled with his academic qualifications, makes him valuable asset to the pharmaceutical industry. And I welcome him, a very cheerful person. Dr. Umesh, please deliver the keynote address for all of us.
Swati, thank you. You made my simple resume into later one. Thank you. Very good morning to all. Yeah, on behalf of the Drug Control Department, Health and Family Welfare Department, Government of Karnataka, and on my behalf, a warm welcome to Dr. 𝐒𝐜𝐴 who is a close friend of mine, who is also the president of FOPE, Dr. Ranjit Bashirkar, Quality Advisor, United Nations MPP Geneva, and who is also a speaker. You can call him as a speaker, educator, a tutor, a teacher. He's going to talk on today's topic, pharmaceutical quality system, and who is also an awardee of Quality Champion Gold by Government of India. And Dr. Swati Sinha, CEO of PharmaState Academy. And I also welcome panelists where our own Deputy Drugs Controller from Drug Control Department, Government of Karnataka, Sri Ramesh will be there. Along with him, Dr. Vinay Naik, Ajay Mallesh, of course, Dr. Ranjit will be there to question all your queries, to answer all your queries, right? And to warm welcome to all the participants who have logged in for this very important session on pharmaceutical quality system, which has been our beloved Drugs Controller, Sri B.T. Kanapureshwar, was supposed to attend the seminar. Due to his personal engagement, he couldn't able to make it today, but he has conveyed his best wishes for the seminar. And also our Principal Secretary, HFW, Sri Harshgupta sir, also conveyed his best wishes for this seminar. Dear friends, on this occasion, I would like to extend my gratitude to Sri Harish Jain and his team for having organized such a brainstorming sessions on revised Schedule M, which is a mandatory regulatory requirement and is very much needed at this hour. And here I have to applaud the vision and effort of PULSE, Pharma Upgradation and Learning Series for Excellence, which has to be applauded and appreciated for arranging such a series, like around, I think about 25 online live learning sessions with respect to revised Schedule M. We all know that pulse of the patient is dependent on quality of the medicine we produced, and such medicines should be assured with utmost quality. To make this happen, it is our responsibility. We have to work together to achieve this. Then when it comes to PULSE, that is Pharma Upgradation Learning Series for Excellence, is very much required at this point of time to bring all pharma experts together, share their experience, and to create a platform where, though they've already created a platform and made you all ready to engage, learn, and elevate. They made you to engage with speakers and panelists. They made you to learn from pharma industry experts from their experiences. And they made you to elevate yourself by implementing the same for its effectiveness. Today, we say that pharmaceutical industry is the third largest in the world in terms of volume, 14th in terms of value. The pharma sector currently contributes to around 1.32% of the country's GDP. And Indian pharmaceutical industry includes 10,500 manufacturing units across India. Among those, we have 748 US FDA approved facilities, around 386 European Union approved facilities, and of those 10,500, 2,020 units are WHO certified companies. And as you all know, Indian medicines are preferred worldwide. India is also a largest supplier of the generic medicine, and generic medicines are exported to nearly more than 200 countries. It manufactures about 60,000 different generic brands across 60 therapeutic categories, and it accounts for 20% of the global supply of generics. India accounts about 60% of the global vaccine production also. It is projected to reach a value of $130 billion by 2030. And India pharma sector is driven by 55 to 60% by exports. Most of them have adopted PQS system, and others have to comply with the requirements. So India is considered as pharmacy of the world. When we consider pharmacy of the world, when we excel so much in pharma sector, why should we need to adopt revised Schedule M then? Isn't it? Apart from the mandatory requirement, it is also we need to adopt because to build a trust and confidence on the quality drugs manufactured and sold in India and abroad, to ensure quality and to ensure quality of the drugs and patient safety, to promote exports and innovations, to ensure compliance of standard of drugs. The important for the sustained economic growth and competence. As you all know, existing Schedule M is in force since 36/2005. After a gap of 18.5 years, revised Schedule M was published on 28/12/2023. So for the firms with 250 crores rupees turnover, revised Schedule M is effective. And for those below, I know it's very difficult to comply, and the water level is running above the heads, but they need to comply. But they need to comply before 27/12/2025. But it's difficult, I know, but it's not impossible. Once they comply, every pharma manufacturer will be an exporter. It's good to hear, nice, isn't it? Yeah, revised Schedule M consists of GMP practices and requirement of premises, plants, equipments for pharmaceuticals, GMP for sterile pharmaceutical products, pharmaceuticals for products containing hazardous substances. It is a new inclusion. Biological product, it's also inducted newly. Radiopharmaceuticals, phytopharmaceuticals, pharmaceuticals products for clinical trials in human. It has been newly inducted. Oral and liquid dosage forms, meter dose inhalers, external preparations, API, bulk drugs, and requirement of plant and equipment. It is a part 2 covered in Schedule M. I consider revised Schedule M would be the game changer in making all the facilities compliant to WHO standard, and will be able to export their products worldwide. By doing so, we can make India #1 pharma exports. The revised Schedule M emphasizes more on procedures, process, premises, and documentation. All parts, including from Part 1 to Part 12 of revised Schedule M, are the same that of WHO TRS guidelines. Coming to today's topic, that is pharmaceutical quality system, I'm not going to say much about PQS. I'll be giving just an outline about this because it will get in detail by Dr. Ranjit in a short while from now on. I know all are eager to hear him than mine, right? Give me I think I'll take it five minutes from you all. The very first para of revised Schedule M is pharmaceutical quality system. The principle of pharmaceutical quality system, which is also formerly called as quality management system, is to ensure pharmaceutical products are fit for their intended use, comply with the relevant authorization requirements, do not place patients at risk due to inadequate safety, quality, and efficacy. I feel if the quality systems are robust and are effectively implemented by the manufacturer, definitely the products manufactured will be assured of expected and assured quality. The topic pharmaceutical quality system is covered under part 1, that is good manufacture practice for pharmaceutical products. It is the main principle of revised schedule M, which is nothing but the WHO TRS 986 annex. The details are explained in 𝐒𝐜𝐡𝐞𝐝, which focus more on a quality management system, good manufacturing practice, quality risk management, corrective and preventive actions, that is CAPA, change management, documentation and records, training and competence, auditing and self-inspections, and continuous improvements and regulatory compliances. If these components work together or gel together, you have to ensure that pharmaceutical products are safe, effective, and of high quality. Thereby, we can safeguard the patient's health. Deliberation by the experts on PQS will definitely going to enrich the knowledge of the participants on the said topic. Will be more effective than reading. I would be happy if the decision makers or management industries are attending this program. If so, they can easily implement the same without further ado. Of course, one session would not be sufficient to understand all the subject. I wish a FOPE and PharmaState in jointly would organize such more and many more sessions for the benefit of industry and stakeholders. The objective of any regulation is that a license shall evolve appropriate methodology, systems, and procedures which shall be documented and maintained for inspection. The reference which may evolve from the current versions of ICH or WHO guidance documents. With these few words, I thank organizers for giving me an opportunity to say my view, and I wish that all the participants who are engaged and logged in will benefit in the panel discussion with the experts. The more questions you throw at the panelists, the more answers you will get. You can inculcate the practice right from today. I would like to end this my speech with a shloka, Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha. What it says, when we protect Dharma, Dharma will protect us. Is it not good to hear, Pharma Rakshati Rakshitaha? When we produce quality products, quality pharmaceutical products, those products will safeguard the health of the patients, right? Thank you, one and all. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.
Thank you, Dr. Umesh, for this wonderful talk. You said people are eager to hear the educator. I would say these words are very, very important for any meeting because they motivate all of us. They guide us to go forward. Thank you so much for joining us today and taking out time from your busy schedule to address all of us. We are already 648 participants in this meeting.
Very good, very good.
And it will increase because we received 1,000+ registrations. Thank you, Dr. Umesh. Please stay with us as long as you can. We know that you have other engagements also, so we'll not bind you to that. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Yes. And now moving towards the in-depth learning session on the topic of PQS today, let me quickly introduce the educator. We have Dr. Ranjit Parshikar with us. Most of us know him. He is a seasoned industry veteran with over 52 years of experience, and he is globally recognized expert in pharmaceutical quality management. What more we can ask for the topic? Currently serving as the CEO of QBD CGMP Consulting and United Nations Advisor Geneva, he brings a wealth of knowledge to the table. His expertise spans across quality management, R&D, manufacturing, regulatory affairs, and compliance with stringent standards like US FDA, EU, and WHO. Dr. Parshikar is a proficient in Pharma 4.0, machine learning, deep learning, quality data analytics, automation applications, QBD, data integrity, and many more topics. His extensive experience as an auditor for both formulations and API facilities is unparalleled. He has traveled to 70+ countries, delivered more than 521 presentations and expert talks. So I think this would be 522nd, Dr. Parshikar, if I'm not wrong. He has made significant contributions to the pharmaceutical industry. Previously, he held leadership positions at Pfizer Limited, Sun Pharma, Leica Labs, Cancer Research Institute, Mumbai, and retired as Global Quality Head in 2006. His numerous achievements and awards are testament to his exceptional career. Let us all extend a warm welcome to Dr. Ranjit as he shares his invaluable insights with us today. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Swati. I appreciate the invitation by the organizers, FOPE, the State Academy, and the Pulse organizing group, as well as the Trillium, Dr. Sanjeet, who is heading Trillium as a knowledge partner. So my thanks also especially Sanjeet for communicating with me with all the details for this invitation, and then further communicating through Dr. Swati as well as Dr. Harish. I appreciate the invitation, and it's my proud privilege to address this excellent audience from our industry. Overwhelming support coming from them. More than 650 audience is attending today, which is likely to increase further. So it's my privilege to address on one of my favorite subjects of the industry is the pharmaceutical quality system. So allow me to present myself without losing much time. Just a minute. Are you seeing the screen?
Not yet, Dr. Ranjit. Please use the share button.
1 minute, one sec. Now,
yes, your desktop screen is visible.
Is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, doctor.
One sec. Now, it's moving, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So, let me, as usual, disclaimer, which was already mentioned by Dr. Swati. The same is with me here as a disclaimer, because certain information is copyright, and I'm using it here with the permission of the copywriter into this presentation. So, my friends, let us understand the serious issues with the industry which is facing even today. Though there are very good efforts going on for last decade to improve in these areas as pain points from the perspective of the compliance challenges, biggest one has been data integrity to the industry, and almost every company had these issues, and lot of changes are happening to improve it, and successfully they are improving it. Even in the sterile manufacturing, there are media fill issues. The CAPA is one of the biggest non-compliance observation by CDSCO, maintenance problem, cleaning issues. There are also doubts on the processes which are developed, whether they are robust or not. So all these are compliance challenges the industry has been facing. And from that perspective, whatever efforts have been taken by DCGI, CDSCO to move forward further to improvise on the standards of quality for implementation by the industry. So, friend, just have a look at this particular slide. See why it is required and the importance of the quality in our product. Though most of us are fully aware the importance of quality, but something or the other goes wrong and we are not able to see 100% achievement through the quality compliance. The one of the expectations, any issue? Swati, is it okay?
Yes, sir, it is okay.
So patient cannot see the quality. That is very important to note, my friends. And what they expect us to give the quality to them and quality product to them. And therefore, when you see on your screen this image, there are two white tablets, and they don't know which is having a right quality product, right quality of ingredients inside, right quality of the active drug inside. So they don't know anything. They just expect the product is quality. They trust us, and that is why they take the product. So, but when you see this image on the lower portion of the slide, on left hand side is a high concentration of the drug. On the right hand side is a low concentration of drug. But the patient doesn't understand this. And that is why we have to ensure that content uniformity complies, so that they are given value of the money which they are paying for the product. So we should not give them sub-potent products. They expect the products are safe, efficacious, and which has been rightly mentioned by the Dr. Swati as well as Dr. Umesh in his inaugural chief guest speech, that we have to give the products them as same performance as given on the label. That is, the drug quantity, active drug quantity should be the same as given on the label. Consistency in the product. And in that process, when we do this activity, we have to also ensure that they are made in right environment to give a quality product. So that is why I am very happy that, and I give sincere thanks to the government, DCGI and CDSCO for revising the Schedule M to match the WHO standards. And from that perspective, when we see the main objective of the Schedule M as expected and as mentioned by the government, is the product should be safe, effective, and of high quality. Processes are very well documented, because this is very, very important expectations, because based on documentation, we are also maintaining the records. The facilities have to be suitable for the intended use and equipment as well. And another very important thing which is expected and as a main objective is avoid mix-ups, contamination, cross-contaminations. And in recent times, my friends, we have seen several issues coming up from Indian manufacturers for global supplies, and several organizations are banned by the government of India, CDSCO, for non-compliances to GMP quality system. So there are more than 100 such companies have been banned. And those are the issues of contamination. And very big issue which is being discussed today is of glycerin contamination in cough syrups, and which was also there in 1980s time period. And still we have these issues today even. Cross-contamination. The people who are manufacturing the product must be qualified and trained, well-trained, and meeting the standards throughout the shelf life of the product. And important another aspect is to minimize the human errors. And whatever percentage of human errors are there, we need to reduce it further and ensure that we are giving patient-centric products. And therefore, we have to keep in mind quality cannot be tested into the product. At the end of the batch manufacturing, several years ago, maybe decade or 2 decades ago, we had that era of testing the product at the end of manufacturing. But the situation has come up. We have to ensure that quality is built into the product by design, so that all critical parameters, critical attributes are monitored very well during manufacturing. And that itself will build trust and confidence amongst the regulatory agencies as well as to our customers, my friends. So from that perspective, it is essential, as rightly mentioned by Dr. Umesh earlier, we must comply with the licenses and the GMP requirement from safety, quality, and efficacy of the product in the interest of patients all the time. and all the time we have to keep in mind that we have to focus only the patients while developing the product, while releasing the product to the market. So throughout the life cycle, patient-centric development is essential. Consistency in manufacturing, fit for the purpose, and to implement such a quality system throughout the life cycle stages. And it is a responsibility of the senior management to ensure that we have a very effective quality system in the organization, and also support from the required resources and ensuring the periodical reviews from compliance perspective. So all these we are going to discuss a little more, because this subject is so big, I cannot compress it in 45 minutes. So I'm trying to see what best I can do to accommodate all the key areas. And equally important is stability performance throughout the shelf life. And in that, when we talk of stability performance, we talk of the review itself. What we are supposed to consider in that: production system, facility equipment, laboratory control, material system, and packaging and labeling. And no doubt, quality system is involved everywhere. So all these 6 systems we have to monitor throughout in our organization, all the manufacturing sites, from the compliance perspective, and support the government to raise further the image of the government and the India as a pharmacy of the world. Product realization with appropriate quality attributes. And when we talk of quality attributes, then we have to consider the critical quality attributes, also critical process parameters, to monitor throughout the manufacturing and the life cycle stages of the product. And we also, it is expected by Schedule M, revised Schedule M, that we should always develop the product keeping in mind GMP, GLP, GCPs, clinical practices during the development stages. And also it is expected now is quality department to support the product development, R&D department, to help them to comply with wherever required at different stages, wherever required, to comply with the GMP, to guide them, to take them on right path, so that mainly the documentation is improved and data integrity issues are not there in even development stages. And we have to ensure RMPM, that is raw material and packaging material supplies, are from approved suppliers. This is a key area, and without coming into the pressure from the supplier or from a materials department. So we have to be very firm on that. We will only buy from approved suppliers. And effective monitoring of outsource activities, another major area and major activity in India is outsource activities. So we need to monitor those very well, and we can have internal team to monitor these activities for audit purpose. It is also important for us, my friends, that each batch is manufactured for the product and monitored as per GMP, documented as per the GMP before it is released to the market. This is very Hello.
Yeah, please go on, Dr. Ranjit. Requesting everyone to please keep themselves on mute for the benefit of all. Yes, sir. Sorry for this.
Products also have to be stored and properly handled to ensure quality is maintained throughout the shelf life of those products, and which is ensured by one of the very, very important aspects of quality system is self-inspection at the sites of manufacturing, and ensure that periodically we audit ourselves to find out the effectiveness of our own quality system, and wherever needed, take the improvements steps to comply with the system. This will help us to continuously have a state of control in our product manufacturing and testing and releasing to the market by effective monitoring, by proper control system, and the process and product performance quality. So it is very, very important, my friends, from that perspective. The state of control has to be maintained throughout during manufacturing and testing. Another area which needs attention, and as rightly mentioned by revised Schedule M, is investigation of any deviations and the preventive measures taken to avoid any potential deviations in future. So these preventive measures are very, very important, and we have to keep in mind deviation, if it is happening, there is a concern, but it should not happen is more important to all those preventive measures. And another area is a change control system, which we will discuss more on that. So overall, if you see, what is important to assure the quality is a robust quality system. The quality system elements which has been rightly mentioned in Schedule M, the compliance standards and regulations in Schedule M, which is now enhancing our performance to WHO level, which is facilitating to continuous improvement and establishing and maintaining the state of the control. Obviously, the CDSCO is going to inspect us. That is also going to help us to improve further if there are any gaps. And therefore, these kind of external inspections are also useful for us to improvise. So when we talk of the key PQS element, we are talking of process performance and product quality system, monitoring system, CAPA, change management, and management review. All these I'm going to discuss more as we go ahead, and enablers are no doubt about these two as a knowledge management and quality risk management system, which is an integral part of pharmaceutical quality system. So when we talk of quality risk management, this is one of the very important system which is acting today as a nucleus of our pharmaceutical development and the management system. So when we initiate this whole program, it is very important for us to assess the risk in various steps, identify the risk, analyze the impact of the risk, and evaluate the risk to know the seriousness of the risk. And when we know now effectively, either qualitatively or quantitatively, by different tools we can do that, is like start with fishbone diagram to go for looking for or explore the possibility where something can go wrong. And in that process, you can either use it FMEA, that is fall FMEA tools, or FMECA tool, risk ranking, or fault tree analysis, or there are several such tools are available to identify the quantification of the risk. That is, what is the risk priority we want to find out, and have the risk ranking based on which one to address topmost and quickly mitigate those risks, whether it is in development, whether it is in manufacturing, whether it is in quality assurance system, or various other departments like storage department and monitoring department like environment monitoring, etc., and utility areas. So risk control, then it helps us to monitor the risk control by reducing the risk, and then move forward to communicate everyone what should be done to communicate if such risk arises in future, and keep all the key people aware of the realities at the site. And this risk management is going to help us tremendously to identify all risks involved, to immediate take corrective measures to avoid these incidences in future, so we are having a safe product in the interest of patients. And therefore, with such, when we talk of such systems, to understand the process and product further, it is essential that, no doubt, with the help of risk management strategy or quality risk management, we find out which are the quality attributes are having higher risk, so which become the critical quality attributes. Also, during process parameters of the manufacturing, which are the critical ones which you need to monitor during manufacturing itself, and address those effectively so that those critical attributes and the parameters are properly handled, monitored, to avoid the risk of failure of the batches. And whatever data we get out of this has to be continuously informed back to R&D, and if they need to improve further the process, it can be improved. So this whole life cycle, product life cycle, is a continuous improvement process during our manufacturing of various products. And therefore, when we talk of continuous improvement, we have to ensure the effective drug supply while improving the manufacturing and quality to give the safe product. So when we talk of continuous manufacturing, to increase process and product understanding throughout the life cycle stages, it is very important. And this will also facilitate innovation and continuous activity for various other sections from improvement perspective, including the suppliers if you need. And therefore, we have to, when we come across certain gaps in such a scenarios, we have to go to the root cause to address such issues and in a timely manner, so that these are not at all affecting our monitoring cycle in manufacturing. And when we talk of change control, when coming to the improvement, change control plays a major role into the organization as a key pharmaceutical quality system, where we are talking of the changes involved in all the critical areas at the site, various changes in SOP, then such changes are minor or major type, depending on the risk you, with the help of risk, we assess it, which are minor, which are major, and which has a serious impact on the quality, in turn, which has impact on patients. It is very important, my friends, also to understand scientific judgment, always to be used for, if at all, during such change, we feel that there is a major or critical issue, whether we need additional testing or additional validation required, so it can be used as to justify those changes. It has to be done, and necessary documentation, and always it is essential to monitor the first batch or the batches, depending on the type of validation required, if you are implementing any critical change. So also the same critical changes, if they are affecting retest and expiry dates, we have to keep, with the help of stability studies, to be monitored, and that itself will give us tremendous confidence while going forward, whether the retest is getting affected or expiry dates are getting affected due to the critical changes. And therefore, there are different areas we talk of the changes happening, is from equipment perspective in facility utility area, new equipments or modified equipments in facility area, tech transfer, product formulation if it is new coming up, or revised formulation, revised manufacturing process, or new equipment at the facility. Where these are the few examples I am giving you. In the most of the time which is happening is a change control to be monitored. And when we talk of COPPA from that perspective, it is very, very important for us that deviation and suspected product defects have to be investigated and recorded, and has to be alerted to everyone, all key people, all key departments involved into these areas as well. And the most likely root causes must be identified and appropriate COPPA is implemented. The regulators have always observed that we do not reach to the root causes of the problem. So it is essential for us to deeply discuss amongst us in the manufacturing and the quality team or the affected department people coming in for the discussion, take the help of R&D. They can also give some solutions to the root causes and ensure that root causes are properly addressed via COPPA. And effectiveness of the COPPA is most important in the organization, which may take some time, but COPPAs have to be closed in as early as possible. But effectiveness of the COPPA is important, ensuring that there are no negative impacts on the product while implementing those changes or implementing the COPPA. And therefore, COPPA has to be meaningful and addressing the risks identified in the process. And therefore, all the cross-functional team have to come together and discuss these COPPAs and resolve the COPPAs issues earlier. And when we see these are the certain animations, I am bringing it purposely so that you will understand the seriousness and how the certain organizations are handling. Now here on your left-hand side image shows quality department is now thinking that they should have addressed deviation much before and trained the manufacturing department well how to address the deviations, how to record the deviations, rather than giving tons of information to the quality and quality spending such a heavy time on resolving the issues, finding the documents, right document. So it is important to have a right training in these areas as well as those people who are generating the deviation. And when we address the COPPA, there is, if you see on the right hand side, this quality department is struggling to plug the leakages from the constructed tank, and the water is coming inside and the COPPA is not addressed. So something is wrong at the root cause, and still trying to close it is not that simple. COPPA everybody has to come together to completely close the issues effectively, and that is why effectiveness of the COPPA is very important, my friends. So therefore, we start the COPPA to understand the correction. What is correction? When we see the fire, immediately first thing and most important thing is to put off the fire. And what is corrective action is very, very important, that why the fire happened, to find out this root cause, to prevent the recurrence. And therefore, it is a corrective action. So the difference between correction and corrective action is very, very important. And preventive is, once you identify the root cause, so preventive becomes more simpler, and you are completely stopping fire to happen in future at all. So therefore, preventive action. So COPPA is playing extremely role in the organization at all the stages, in all the departments, to handle it effectively. Also, we have to understand the field alert reports to be addressed in the organization, records of the distribution, complete history of the batch. Whenever we get any FAR issues, FAR is field alert report, root causes to be investigated timely, and we must report it to the senior management of such field alert reports. Another very integral part of our system, pharmaceutical quality system, is qualification and validation of the premises, facilities, equipment, processes which are likely to affect the quality. And therefore, such processes, sub-procedures which or equipment needs to be qualified and validated for effectiveness, and with a proper documentation on that for the effectiveness of the validation procedures. And this effectiveness has to be documented or part of validation master plan, where we talk of IQ, OQ, PQ based on the URS generated by the concerned department. And when you commission, it is a FAT and SAT activity to be done to ensure that my equipment is perfectly okay, to ensure my all the processes, utilities, premises are properly validated from the GMP perspective. And when we talk of equipment, facility, utilities, process, analytical method development, cleaning procedures, transportation system, all needs to be validated effectively. And most important is computer system validation. Very, very important CSV to be followed by ensuring that there is no easy access to the changes into the documentation online, and the authority to the quality head and the IT head has to be restricted to those areas for final clearance for the changes into the system, and ensure this kind of system is effectively monitored so that no hanky-panky happens, no manipulation happens, especially in the quality control lab, where all the equipments are exposed for the effective software to be used to have a proper communication amongst each other, as well as whole system is fully monitored effectively by the trained persons, the analysts themselves, similarly PLMs in manufacturing area. So whole purpose of this computer system monitoring today in documentation is, and implementation in the processes, is that no manipulation should happen and data integrity is fully complied with. And therefore, one of the key areas which needs to be addressed is there are those people who are having equipments, whether it is manufacturing or in quality control lab. We have seen, even regulators have seen, that there are very few people awareness of such computer validation system. Trained people are not sufficiently trained, not adequately trained. And another area into this is to be addressed is the whatever we are checking the audit trails of the data or measurement has to be effectively done. And practically, there are so many batches are manufactured every day. So we have to find ways how to effectively monitor and have complete review of audit trails with the help of quality assurance team. So it is very, very important for us to ensure my computer validation system is perfect, which is supporting me to comply with the data integrity compliances. Another area we are talking of part 2 here is sterile manufacturing, and this is I'm going to spend very few only a minute or two because we don't have much time, is keeping in mind the preventive measures in sterile area, which is very, very important from contamination control strategy perspective, where we talk of prevent, remediate, and monitor and regularly improve the continuously the whole process in sterile area. So cleaning and disinfection is the key. Decontamination is another area to handle on regular basis. Sterilization monitoring and investigation and CAPA to handle these product in sterile area for quality and patient safety. Product quality review is another most important area, my friends. I'm going to spend a few minutes onto this. I am aware, Swati, now we are touching 11:30, but I need more time because we started late. Product quality review has to be conducted and documented annually, but you can increase the frequency depending on the issues at the site. but at least annually it should be done. Consistency of the product process and quality parameter is very important. Quality review has to be completed within the time specified and to ensure the completeness of the data and accuracy. And from that perspective, the assessment of requirement of revalidation and appropriate COPPA must be reviewed by the respective team and the COPPA periodic review for effectiveness checks. And keep in mind, previous reviews also has to be considered during the current review process to ensure that we met with all the previous observations in the reviews. And therefore, right from starting material, packaging material, critical parameters, investigation of failed batches, return batches, if any changes are made to the analytical methods or processes, results of the stability data or adverse trends in the stability data, quality related recalls, complaints, and investigations, COPPA, and most important is you can have, as per the revised Schedule M, these reviews can be grouped by the product type in the solid dosage forms, liquid dosage form, oral sterile products, etc. when we justify it scientifically. And sometimes people go by product-wise quality review. That is also fine. It's not a problem. And therefore, when we do these crucial product-related or dosage form related reviews, the management has to review it on regular basis and keeping in mind the inputs, what kind of reviews we have to do from management perspective, product and process performance, audit findings, non-compliances, customer complaints, COPPA are the key areas than other areas. So if you handle these, a lot of things will be addressed. These are all critical areas to review by the top management, which has to be done periodically, so that we expect improvements in the customer related issues, product consistency improvements, and process consistency improvements are there. Obviously the quality system improvements are expected into this activity, and the resources and the trainings to be handled for review purpose by the management. Most important for that, my friends, is that top management has to ensure that all the head of the departments support the quality team to comply fully with quality management system. Quality alone cannot achieve anything. Every department, every person has to ensure that we are together. We together will resolve the issues. Together we will move to comply with the pharmaceutical quality system in the organization. And don't just question quality department that why do we keep slipping back and not steadily progressing forward. Okay, so I think this gives a very good message to everyone from that perspective, from compliance perspective. Management responsibilities, no doubt, is very, very essential in the organization, and strong quality policy, quality planning, quality policy, or you can have alternate document in that place, that is fine. You can mention it accordingly. Quality planning, resources sufficiently to be given to ensure the compliances. Commitment to the quality is essential from top management. Implementation of and effective implementation is very, very important, and defining the roles and responsibilities of various heads and the departments. Ensure the quality department is independent of manufacturing. It is very essential to ensure the decision process by the quality unit is transparent and not biased. Audit and inspection is another area which we need to monitor on effectively, all the departments, and having a proper auditors.
Dr. Ranjit, your voice is not coming at our end. Please check once.
Swati, it's Okay on my end.
We can hear. We can hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Swati, all of us can hear.
Yeah,
It is
okay.
audible, ma'am.
Yeah, please go on, Dr. Ranjit.
Okay. So internal auditors are very essential to select them. They have to be absolutely unbiased and not keep any personal grudge during the auditing system. Must be knowledgeable, must be having positive approach, and important is calm and compose internal auditor and give the right information to the top management of the realities at the site from compliance perspective. And keeping in mind that how the data integrity performance is happening in the organization from compliance perspective, ensure the freedom of quality unit, my friends. If you see this image, 2 plus 2, the person, the other departments, let me say from that perspective, or even the head of the quality department should not pressurize that say 2 plus 2 is 5. No, the person who is tied up is analyst or anybody in manufacturing is saying it's rightly 4, accept it. So it is very, very important not to pressurize people to release the batches. Very important message in this image, and therefore the honesty, integrity, confidentiality is very, very important in the organization. Everybody has to commit, and management has to support this strongly, and they have to, this system comes from top to bottom, and it is essential that such compliances is observed thoroughly, that no pressure on for release the batches which are of not standard quality. And therefore, my friends, comply with the data integrity 𝐒𝐴LCOA system that is attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, and accurate information is very, very important in the organization to comply with the data integrity. Training is another area which we need to monitor. If adequate training, adequate content of the training is very important to train the right team in the organization and ensure that all the compliances are happening and the errors are not happening just because the training is not happening. At the same time, is keep in mind that the team members are in a good frame of mind while implementing the processes and the procedures to ensure the correct compliances, correct manufacturing, because all these activities depend on people. People make big difference in the organization in compliances and reporting the gaps in the organization. And the quality manual, no doubt, is very, very important. Audit trail, these are part of some of the audit points which has to be checked. Note important is the MFR, manufacturing formula record, the whole time studies, which has come up in the new Schedule M, the validation master plan, the ensure that no documents are changed without authorization and approval, the reproduction of working documents from master documents should not be allowed for any error to be introduced in the reproduction system. And regularly, this whole thing has to be reviewed by responsible persons, and documents shall be approved, signed, and dated by responsible persons. All these are, when you read the PQS system issued by revised Schedule M, more details you will observe there. And therefore, documentation, the apex documentation is quality manual, policies, SOPs, instructions and the procedures, and the form template, checklist, log books, etc. as a Tier 5 document. So we have to follow this system in the organization from documentation perspective. And therefore, very important, my friends, that no shortcuts. Quality culture is most important in the organization. Have a very good vision, transparent organization. The top man of the company must give clear and credible messages and live with the messages given to the team in the organization. And transparent reward system is very, very important to have a strong quality culture, and motivated, confident team develops motivated, confident organization. And therefore, when we see this, supporting the quality team to compliance, everybody has to support to take compliance ahead together as a work culture to ensure quality culture in the organization. So there are several opportunities. Right first time, in the interest of patients, robust quality system, robust pharmaceutical quality system, moving towards zero defect in the organization, science and risk-based. This is the also newly added to the revised Schedule M, which is very good thing happening, and satisfied regulatory agencies and customers. Obviously, my friends, obviously the Schedule M compliance will give higher productivity. The quality team will always be happy, but the CEO is also going to give great satisfactory remarks to the whole manufacturing side, all the team members, for compliance to revised Schedule M. Keep in mind, this thing should not happen. When you see the top portion image, the sinking boat on one side, other side, two gentlemen are enjoying and saying the glad the whole is not on our side. This should not happen. Only the quality team is struggling to survive, and others are just enjoying. So it's not a good practice. Therefore, quality is everyone's responsibility in the organization, and for that, attitude is very important for compliance perspective. And therefore, when you all are responsible for compliance, my friends, you from the GMP perspective, pharmaceutical quality perspective, don't forget, every person in the organization is responsible for GMP and PQS throughout the organization, in turn, quality of the product. And therefore, revised Schedule M pharmaceutical quality system, when we talk of summary, if I had to just bring in few highlight areas, is minimize the variations, minimize the variabilities, enhance quality compliance. And this revised Schedule M is helping to reduce the risk to the patients, enhance the patient benefits as well. Obviously, the organization is going to get benefits. They're reducing the cost of the compliance because of minimum reworking, minimum reprocessing, minimum rejection always increases the cost from the recovery perspective, and the cost goes down overall in the organization. Obviously, it improves the credibility and image in the not only in the society, but in the yourself start feeling confident of the batches we are releasing, and we are satisfied ourselves, and obviously regulatory agencies also will be satisfied, and that is also our aim. And then patients also will be very satisfied with our quality of the product. And keep in mind, these 6 systems which we talked of, the quality system, the important, every department it is involved, production, facility, utilities, equipment, laboratory, materials, and packaging and labeling. And therefore, our vision, my friends, is very, very important. We have to include quality as a part of our vision. Quality compliance with the help of revised Schedule M for the improvement of the product and the patient's safety and efficacy of the product. And therefore, I conclude my presentation here with limited time. I tried to cover maximum, and appreciate your patience to my talk, my presentation. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ranjit. It was a great coverage. The task at hand for you was bigger. I think the biggest today because you had to cover so much in such a small frame of time. But I hope we are able to get the gist of what is there in PQS for revised Schedule M. And more will be cleared in the coming Q&A with panelists also. So Dr. Ranjit, howsoever you may prolong, please be with us for 1 or 2 questions. I will be taking up some general questions, but more important would be the questions coming from the audience. They have very, very specific question. So
Sure.
please stay with us. Thank you, Dr. Ranjit. And let us take a strategic timeout. At the other side, we have a very, very good panel answering your questions, answering few of my questions also. And please stay with us. That is the part where your doubts will be cleared. We have ample time, and I would request all of you to please extend 10 minutes more of your time after 12:30 so that we can answer all of the questions. Satish, can we have the sponsors video for strategic timeout?
Yeah, sure. Give me a few seconds on this.
A world full of happiness, exuberance, and energy. Imagine a life free from diseases and pain. 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝘀𝗶 Laboratories India Limited is committed to this ideal. 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝘀𝗶 Laboratories India Limited was established in the year 1979 with the motive of serving mankind, a name that has become synonymous with care, comfort, and commitment. 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝘀𝗶 Laboratories India Limited has created a niche for itself to become a renowned face in the field of manufacturing and export of pharmaceutical formulation. The second generation of the family has carried forward the grand 𝗥 to attain greater heights and bring more laurels and achievements into its lab. Right from its inception, 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝘀𝗶 Laboratories India Limited has given emphasis on manufacturing quality and world-class products. One of the areas that have made 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝘀𝗶 Laboratories India Limited a trusted name is its emphasis on extensive R&D works. The plant has a complete R&D setup, and R&D department boasts of R&D chemical lab, R&D pilot scale-ups, R&D scale-up, and micro lab, etc. The unit is well equipped with sophisticated and latest instruments to develop new drug delivery systems and formulations. All the research work is done under the supervision of skilled and qualified staff. 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝘀𝗶 Laboratories India Limited has its corporate office situated at New Delhi, whereas company's state-of-the-art manufacturing plant is situated in Bhiwadi, just an hour-and-a-half drive away from Delhi. Built on a vast area of 150,000 square meters, the unit conforms to international standards and is accredited with GMP, WHO GMP, and ISO 9001-2008 certifications by Indian drug authorities. 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝘀𝗶 Laboratories India Limited is also accredited with prestigious international approvals from FBD Ghana, PPB Malawi, MOH Nepal, NAFDAC Nigeria, MOH Ivory Coast, and Democratic Republic of Congo, etc. Some noticeable features of the plant are serene, dust and pollution-free surroundings, adequate production areas with quarantine rooms and ancillary areas, dedicated QA, QC areas, and dedicated R&D facilities. 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝘀𝗶 Laboratories India Limited is having a huge manufacturing capacity to manufacture various dosage forms in a single shift per annum basis. The tablet section has arrangements to produce tablets on mass scale through its modern automatic machines. The hard gelatin capsule section is equipped with modern machines for sifting, blending, filling pellets and powders, and polishing of capsules. The unit is also having the capacity of manufacturing capsules of various sizes, ranging from size 1 to size 3. The liquid oral section is equipped with modern automatic machines with online washing, filling, sealing, and labeling facilities. The external preparation section is equipped with fully automatic vacuumized system for transfer of material from manufacturing to sealing. The packing unit has a number of primary packing lines, including 𝐒𝐜𝐴𝑙𝑢 blister packing machines. There is a series of secondary packing lines too, for tablets, capsules, and liquids. 𝗥𝗲𝘃𝗶𝘀𝗶 India Limited always gives emphasis on quality. All products go through the stringent testing schedules as specified at different stages of production. The efficient QA department, with its in-depth analysis, ensures 100% reliable and quality products. Quality control department is endowed with latest and modern sophisticated instruments. 𝗥𝗲𝘃𝗶𝘀𝗲 India Limited conducts regular training sessions for its marketing staff. 𝗥𝗲𝘃𝗶𝘀𝗲 India Limited's management team is continuously charting newer plans for the growth and expansion of the company. 𝗥's products have been exported to various countries across the globe, like CIS countries, Asian subcontinent, Latin American region, African region, etc. Imagine and
Satish, yes. Thank you, 𝗥𝗲𝘃𝗶𝘀𝗲 for sponsoring the learning for this session. And now we move towards the panel discussion. Let us now welcome the esteemed panelists for today. We already have Dr. Ranjit with us. Welcoming Mr. P. Ramesh, Deputy Drugs Controller, Headquarters, Karnataka. He possesses extensive experience in the field of drug regulation with over 26 years of service in the Enforcement Division of the Drugs Control Department, Karnataka. In addition to being a Deputy Drugs Controller, he also have efficiently supervised complex tasks and ensured compliance with regulatory standards, manpower, and administrative work. Welcome, Mr. Ramesh.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Swati ma'am. Good morning to everyone. I also would like to extend my sincere thanks to Pulse as well as 𝐒𝐜𝐡𝐞𝐝, MD, Managing Director of 𝗙𝗏𝗃 and I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our Drugs Controller for State of Karnataka, B.T. Karnapalli sir, as well as our Dr. Umesh, who is the Chief Guest of today's function, as Additional Drugs Controller, for the encouragement and support to be here. And then I would like to know thank you.
Thank you, sir. And moving towards the next panelist, we also have Dr. Vinay Nayak, Independent Director at Aarti Pharma Labs Limited. He is a seasoned pharmaceutical professional. Most of us know him with exemplary experience in manufacturing, quality, R&D, compliance, and regulatory affairs for both APIs and formulations. He has held leadership roles at major pharmaceutical companies, including Cipla, Lupin, Watson, Alembic, and 𝐿𝐴. Apart from plant expansions and capacity enhancements, he has also contributed by developing very sound quality systems which are capable of standing up to very tough regulatory inspections of recent years. His expertise includes setting up and leading technical operations, driving regulatory compliance, and expanding manufacturing capabilities. Dr. Nayak has successfully handled numerous US FDA and other regulatory inspections and has a proven track record of building high-performing teams and achieving organizational goals. Welcome, Dr. Vinay.
Hello. Just to add to what Swati said, the other part which I enjoyed doing was being on the government committees for drafting the Schedule M from the inception, drafting of the Schedule Y, being on the scientific committee of the IP, and that too for a period of 30 years or so. I've been writing monographs for the USP also. More than 65 to 70 monographs have been given from the various companies that I work for. And I've been recognized in most of the scientific journals with my patents and research papers. And I'm fortunate that I had great teachers like Dr. Hamid, Mr. Deshbandhu Gupta, and other pharmaceutical MDs who took keen interest in seeing that the companies come to the next level. For example, when I joined Cipla in 83, 13th of Jan, it was a 17 crore company, but by the time I left after 20 years, it was 4,900 crore company. So such growth has been seen. And what is important is, while these companies are growing, how do you adapt yourself in leadership role and change the direction from three plants to 29 plants of Cipla? It was a big journey, you know, and that's where the mind goes berserk, how to control so many people, how to control so many systems, and how to keep them in compliance throughout. I do remember that perhaps I was the first company to be inspected in 1984 by US FDA. And I was barely 27 years of age. And my boss had said, it's up to you now to defend yourself, because nobody knew what was GMP in 1983. And we had to actually read different articles and see what are the things that are important in GMP. But we have come a long way now. And I think today, with Ranjit speaking of so many things which are new, I think everybody would be trying to see what are the challenges and how to implement it, how to make it happen at the workplace. You know, if something is in the book, that's fine. But how to make it happen in the workplace, that is the question that everybody has on mind. So this is my brief introduction to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Vinay. And yes, your experience is exemplary. We would love you to answer those questions which are coming to you later with that perspective. And we also have Mr. Ajay Malaysia, Quality Assurance Manager at AstraZeneca from USA. He is joining us, and it's around, I think, 2 a.m. for him. So let us all acknowledge that what time he is joining us at. He is a results-driven QA/QC professional with extensive experience and expertise in ensuring compliance and quality excellence within the dynamic landscape of pharmaceutical and biopharmaceutical manufacturing. He has proven track record in implementing robust quality systems, successful regulatory inspections, and optimizing processes to meet the highest industry standards. With over 17 years of experience, including 10 plus years at AstraZeneca currently, and he is based in Maryland, USA. Welcome, Ajay.
Thank you, Dr. Swati, for a great introduction. It's a great opportunity to be here, and this is my first time. I've been involved with Indian pharmaceutical discussions, and obviously I want to sincerely thank Mr. Harish Jain as well for reaching out to me to be a part of this discussion. Dr. Ranjit, it was a great presentation to begin with. You covered most of the critical aspect of the pharmaceutical quality system. So good to hear you.
My pleasure.
Yes, sir. And I will also request Harish sir and Dr. Sanjeev to join in, because after the generic question that I would be asking, we will be taking up the questions from the participants, which should be answered by the top people in organization here. So Harish sir and Dr. Sanjeev, please join in if possible. And let me take up questions. Sir, I would request you all to be brief. Try to, give answers within a time span of 1 or 2 minutes, so that we can take up more and more questions from participants. My questions would be generic only. So first question to Mr. P. Ramesh. Given the increasing number of pharmaceutical manufacturing facilities in India, what are the key challenges faced by the regulatory authority in ensuring consistent product quality and compliance?
Yes, ma'am. This pertains to the regulatory affairs, and I also came from the regulatory side. I would like to before start my reply to this question, just to say that in India, the drugs and cosmetics and other rules are the regulate the import, export, manufacturing and distribution sale of the drugs, as well as this main object of the act is to ensure the availability of the standard quality drug, cosmetics, and as well as medical devices. So we are here to continue this. Will give apart from the regulation, also this act provides guidelines for the new technical basis aspects. The another thing which we just follow this, the act is an effective tool to the regulatory agencies for the quality management through licensing and one aspect. Another thing is there to personal inspections, assess the extent of the compliance. If I talk about the extension of the compliance, that is today's topic, and today's subject is that quality and revised schedule M. And this regulation is in a self-regulatory agency. self-regulations. It is a self-compliance. It is not that unless we say you follow, it is not like that. So that everyone is aware that. And another way of we are through sampling and surveillance of the drugs, we follow the other quality system. These two things which regulatory agents, I'm saying that this is a quality management which we also follow, as I explained this. And this regulatory, this enforcement activities is jointly carrying in India by central as well as state government. Both the bodies have equal responsibility of the enforcement of the regulations. So this is the framework of the regulation. When you say, then later when you come to the before going to in a broader way to the point and questions, see when you see today's revised schedule M, which is effective from it is published in the 25th December 2023, and it is already effective as per the turnover basis, and as everyone aware it that. So if you talk about this, today's as Dr. Ranjit sir has told rightly, I'll be sticking to the pharmaceutical quality system. When you talk of the pharmaceutical quality system, see, it is very given. I think everyone says management culture is the point. It is not just culture the product. It first says part 1, para 1. Also clearly says that the management responsibility to assure the quality of the pharmaceutical product for its intended use. See, it has to be underlined, everyone. The panelists also to try to talk on this. It is not just responsible making the product. It should serve the intended use. That's the one point I want to raise in this platform. And the second point I would like to raise is the product should not be risk to the patient. That means to say that it should be defective from quality. It should be quality and other aspects should be free from all other defects. These two things is clearly given in pharmaceutical quality system. Today's is a very specific webinar, this session. We have been conducting every session, but today we'll try to talk these are very most important. One, already we generally, Dr. Ranjit sir has explained what is the system to be followed as a revised schedule or those things. So these are the 3 points I would like to mainly explain. And then when it comes to the regulatories enforcing as you rightly said that it is true that the Indian pharmaceutical industry is growing and plays in a significant role to the supplying of the affordable and low-cost generic medicine to millions of people in the globe. It has been well established in that aspect. And then when it comes to for the constraints as followed the state regulatory body in India, so generally it is resource constraint 1 point. When you discuss of the constraints means that is the constraints of manpower, infrastructure, and as well as the budgetary things. When if there these 3 factors togetherly impair the inspection part, and that will lead to the slow of the compliance point. The compliance verification will come down, and the risk of the quality will be undetectable. These 3 parameters will come. So this has been happening earlier. Now the both state government, central government has taken proactive steps, provide all these, and we also have developed now earlier. If I'm concerned about my Karnataka state, we had only 1 laboratory in the Bangalore, and now we have got 3 laboratories apart from 2 additional laboratories we have developed. And then in addition to this, we have central government has also CDSO, through CDSO has been providing central strengthening scheme. It's a very effective scheme. It has been given all the states. So through this scheme, we have been earlier we have got only around 13 HPLC, 1 GC likewise. Now after the scheme, it is effective, the scheme is effective in 2015 onwards. Now we have got around 80 HPLC. It's a great number. I don't think in any of the industry in Karnataka having 80 HPLC and more than 2 or 3 GC likewise. So this is going on improvement in that aspect also. And then second point I would like to mention is a quality culture issue. This is a quality culture issue already explained. So this is most of data integrity and as a quality system pertain to the work culture, and if not implementing the procedural part. So we need to emphasize continuously the system protocol should be adopted. So the third point I would like to say, regulatory, improving the quality system. See, the quality system has been explained earlier in today's session. I will just only say that when the quality systems are not effectively functioning, are not adapted in the system, procedures, principles, quality policies, that will lead to incompliance and variable products, non-compliance of standards. That is, we see not of standard quality, spurious quality, which has been seen in newspapers are publishing. Those things can be, we can overcome if you are complying all this. The fourth point is, the regulatory awareness. The regulatory awareness is one of the major aspects when you see there is as you know, this what schedule revised M. Now he has been harmonizing the our regulation with international regulations, thereby becoming uniformity of all the, whether it is a larger industries or medium or small scale. So that is what the central government is tried now and brought it to the revised schedule M. Once the revised schedule M has been implemented very effectively by the stakeholders, thereby whether you supply the product to the domestic or to the whether it is for your regulatory market and unregulated market. See, we have got different way of marketing. That is our issue. If it is not like that, our standards could have been same. So some countries follow different international guidelines. In some countries follow. These two to harmonize, the central government has brought this revised schedule M, that is mainly without PQS. So once you do this, this also will be overcome by the challenge also. And finally, the technology advancement. As you know, in spite of all this, we are also government setup. We do have set of technical exposure. Now, day to day, there is a lot of technical. Earlier, only like a few dosage forms, parenteral. Earlier, we can say the schedule M. If you refer to the schedule M, there is a 6 categories of the specific requirement. Now it has become 12. So before coming to, because short of time, I'm just going very short way. If you look up this, 12. Now today it has came 12 parts. When before that, we have a lot of difficulties to implement products, facilities like biosimilar, gene therapy, stematics, all this we have, there was no specific setup for the guidelines given. But we have got, the central government has given guidelines to cope up the extending the facilities part 1, 2, 3 it is given. So likewise, we have challenges. Now I think with this revised schedule, we are having category-wise, technology-based-wise also with a cope up of software IT. As you know, now AI is a main, that we have been doing it in some of the part and mainly in parental. It was there more than 15, 20 years. We have been doing it, machine learning, all those, the movement of the trays, from the filling to the packing. That was all we have seen practically in the industry when I was in working also. Likewise, now in recently as a government of India, recently if you see the paper, they brought four points for project now, because that is one of this is in a regulatory has become in a digitalization. So as you know, the regulatory issues of that is means as I said, the licensing part, as most of the regulatory work in the CDSO as well as in the state has been now digitalization. In the state also, our licensing of manufacturing is with the help of NSC. We are doing an excellent DML one thing. Another non-statutory license of 16 licenses, 16 certificates we are giving the Seva Sindhu through, which is absolutely paperless, with no contact. The applicant will apply from his premises and will get delivered at his mail. So likewise, and this is what's coming now. And there is, I think, as per my knowledge, there are different platforms are there to giving licensing. One is Sugam portal, likewise so many. I think they may bring in all uniformly single platform. That could be one way. And then the second is the scientific.
Ramesh, would you
completing? Yeah. These are the challenges we are facing. And finally, that nationwide audit checks are going on. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And yes, you had a lot of information to share, and we hope that this message reaches to all who are listening to this program, requesting everyone to please listen to it, because the answers will come from panelists. The problems, the challenges that you are facing, this will be getting answered from the panel today. Next question I would ask to Dr. Vinay Nayak, because he has had an extensive experience in the pharmaceutical industry. What are the critical quality attributes that should be prioritized, Vinay sir, during drug development and manufacturing to ensure product robustness? The priorities.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. According to me, any organization that has a well-set system would begin with having a good laboratory for formulation development or API development, analytical development lab with the latest instrumentation, as Ramesh was saying, GC with headspace, and today there are equipment such as doing ICP-MS for the elemental analysis, and nitrosamine impurities to be done by LCMS. So the sophistication of detection of impurities and the cancer-causing products has gone to a large extent, which is more sophisticated, and hence many of the Indian companies have to come in line with that. Even just last week, the elemental analysis has been introduced as a running parallel to the conventional methods of doing the analysis on Nestor cylinders and all that, and that is going to be a big challenge again. Writing out a great protocol, how to evaluate which elements are there in your product or API or excipients, and how frequently you should test it. What is the level of risk that you have to encompass, to test these or not. These are the challenges that are new challenges, as you call it. Again, I would say the concept of QC also, the 60 to 70% of the plant's inspection is focused around QC. I think most of you would agree. Right from that time the materials come in, they get tested, and then vendor approvals and validations and qualifications, cleaning methods, developing the analytical methods, scaling it up, and making the form specifications, making the APQR. All these things are focused on quality, and therefore quality will play a very important role, and the training and development of quality personnel continues to be the mainstay of industries to grow. The other thing I would say is the concept of QA. Now I'll just give an imaginary picture. 10 years back, in every company that you went, there was a nice big room, long room or square room, in which there are 20 people of QA sitting there, and then they were divided into reviewers and observers. So what was happening was the reviewers would get the batch records and review them, and say okay. So now something has been analyzed in the lab 5 days back, and the man sitting in that room had no idea how he did the system suitability, how he did the sample preparation, how he introduced it, and how did he set the machine, HPLC machine, to get the data. But today the concept of QA is different. Today you will find the QA observers are wearing a different uniform, maybe yellow or blue as against white, and sitting in the QC room, and they are going from one working point to the other, checking with the organized checklist whether the samples are done correctly. So, you don't have to write fictitious replies to out of specification results. You blame it on something and then you want to close it out. That won't happen now. There is a factual review, and this has been the main changes. So the man who is from QA in warehouse, he will also see the dispensing, the cleaning of the laminar air flows, everything, and these are the changes that are coming. That is always the QA surveillance has gone to the next level, with all sincerity. The third thing, the role of QA in validation and qualification, that is also very important. And most of the processes, they are at the lab scale. Then they are taken to 100,000 tablets as a exhibit batch scale. They are evaluated properly, 3 batches consecutively. Summary is made of the validation, and you conclude that the product manufactured is of desired quality, and then you go for the commercial batches. So there is this link between R&D batch to the scale-up batch to the commercial batch, and every time I think one has to keep in mind that the samples at each stage should be analyzed again and again to know that the consistency is maintained. There is no change of polymorph, there is no change of crystallinity, there is no change of dissolution. All this has to be mapping properly. Then I come back to the other thing. One of the pitfalls in the industry where most of the companies have got problem is on data integrity, the pitfalls of data integrity. So I think many companies have now put that in place with policies, with commitments from the people that they will not violate anything, and that actions are taken where data integrity is there. And that has become one of the mainstays of the quality in today's day. The third thing I would like to say is the investigation into deviation, change control, CAPAs, all this is a major role of the QA, and that has to be done meticulously with a very good scientific rationale, as 𝐒𝐜𝐴𝐴 mentioned. And that becomes a challenge because most of the people sometimes in the labs have no flair for scientific writing, and that's where the challenge is. So you must get mentors who will tell you how to write down the reports, etc. And coming to other things, the training is an important aspect during the inspection or otherwise also, because technologies are changing so rapidly. So people have to be hands-on trained, So training to the people for the job-related competence is important. And what companies do is they have a competency mapping of each of the candidates. So say, for example, a QC analyst is able to do dissolution, he's able to do DT test, he's able to do HPLC, he's able to do GCA. So out of the 12 tests, he's able to do 7. So his competency index is almost to the extent of 65%, not 100. But when the report of any analyst is checked, only those who are trained, they would be performing those tests, not otherwise. We cannot put a newcomer just on the instrument and allow him to make mistakes, And therefore, the instrument operating procedures, the SOPs, etc., have to be very precise so that it doesn't leave any arbitrary judgment on the part of the chemist, to do something different from what is written. I would also say that Ranjit spoke about this, and I think this goes more to the higher management. You should have an open culture. Open culture means all criticisms also between the departments and all should be discussed in what is called as the steering committee meeting. Normally, big companies or small companies, they have a steering committee which meets once on the first day of the week, and they plan out that, last week, these were the lapses that were there, these were the deviation, these were the problems in manufacturing, the air handling system was not up to the mark. So all this open culture means discussing all these things and finding solutions to it. And that has become more prominent now. And I think with Schedule M, that will become a part of the day-to-day operations for the people. And the other thing I would like to say was that GMP also demands a lot of documentation. So you have to be precise in filling up the documents as and when the activity is performed, not before and not after. People think that they can have beautiful handwriting on the batch record if it is written afterwards. That's not on. So I think in a span of another 5 years, the FDA and other regulatory bodies also would be asking for digital recording of manufacturing. I did the granulation, I did the drying, I did the milling, then I did the compression, I did coating. Everything will have to be given in terms of videotape to the FDA. Now, I think I should also share with you something important here, that FDA, now when they are in inspections in India, remember that we are in the morning, daytime, and they are in the night. So what FDA tends to do is, with PricewaterhouseCoopers and others being the partners with FDA now, they do what is known as data dumping. So they go to an HPLC and they take 2,000 chromatograms from that HPLC and send it across to the US by mail. And there are about 40 people sitting around the corner in the conference room in FDA and reviewing this chromatogram to see if there is any fraud, And then next day morning when you're at workplace, they will say, well, we reviewed this and this is a comment. Can you please elaborate on what is going on here? So things are getting difficult, as I say, because you are under constant surveillance. So if a document is made so many months back and you show it there during inspection, it's likely that that can cause problem if not reviewed by the QA internally in a very judicious manner. So these were some of the things apart from what Ranjit said. Risk assessment, of course, is important. And I think today the CDSU's inspections are called as risk assessment inspections. So they are far different to the inspections of the other bodies also. And they are seeing the level of compliance in Schedule M and understanding. And I'm told many companies have been disqualified on this front also. This is a sign that things are moving and things are going in the different direction now. Now, the other thing which
obviously request Dr. Naik, if you can just stick to Schedule M. Many of our participants, they are not participating in US FDA and other inspections.
Well, did you mention WHO in the inspection in the opening talk?
Schedule M and WHO, yes.
Yeah. So the point is, if I'm doing a stability study in the laboratory, whether it is Schedule M or it is WHO, is it different? Is it different in that sense? So we are talking generic things which are handled during inspections or during the operation of a plant. Now, I don't have to say that you have to do exactly what I say, but I'm only sharing with you the success stories in companies which have gone up. And therefore, I think if it is prudent, then you can pick up something from this or leave it, either of the way. There are plenty of examples I can give you which will elaborate the point that even the Schedule M coming to its level recently is also a great beginning, So, but some companies have been practicing GMP to a higher level since earlier years also. So you got to take it with us with that. Okay, now.
Yeah, sir. Please, due to positive time, let us take up the participants' question because they have very, very pointed questions for all the panelists, and I hope your experience will be able to, answer those questions.
Sure, yes.
Yeah.
Swati, was it there another question about in-house audits and all that you had in mind?
Sure, Dr. Vinay. Just let me just take up one question first and then see if time is left
sure.
beyond that, sir. Thank you so much. Next question to Mr. Ajay. Ajay, I will take up quickly those questions and would request you to, because my questions are generic. I want the participants' question to be answered more and more. Just one question to you. Given the stringent regulatory environment in the US, just tell us about one or two experiences in implementing similar quality frameworks and how the adoption of QBD principles has impacted the timelines and costs. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Swati. I'll keep it short in the essence of time, right? I mean, the first and foremost important thing is, right, understanding the regulations, how regulations are interpreted, right? And once you understand those aspects of the regulations, you can have a short framework of gap analysis within your organizations to understand your current system and see where are the gaps where you are not aligned with the regulations. And then works towards those developing those quality management systems, right? And obviously, and the critical part here is, right, you can develop a quality system, but then how do you sustain it? How do you maintain it, right? And how do you carry it forward? And that's why training, education of each and every employee within the organization is very important. And I think there should be a training program within the organization to drive that behavior and ensuring success of this quality system which is being implemented in the organization. When it comes to quality by design, definitely it does help. It helps you to build quality into your product, right, in the design phase itself, right? It helps you to identify critical parameters during the process. And with that, you can save a lot of time during the development phase, and it also helps you to cut down the cost. It also helps you to efficiently utilize your resources and materials during the process.
Thanks, Ajay. So yes, Ranjit sir, I'll request you to take up the participant questions only. I'll skip my questions. Harish sir, over to you to please ask the questions and take the questions from participants.
Thank you, Dr. Swati. Thank you all the panelists to be amongst us today. And on behalf of FOPE, we are so grateful to everyone, Dr. Ramesh to start with, and then Dr. Ranjit sir, Ramesh sir, Dr. Vinay Nayak sir, Sanjeet Singh ji, Ajay Malesha ji, and everyone. And what I will do is, probably I think many of the, I'm actually flooded with the questions from the participants. So that signifies the kind of commitment and the kind of curiosity and the people's desire to understand and know the answers. So what I will do is, whatever the questions are already which are being answered during the course of the by Dr. Ranjit ji, then Umesh ji, and all the panelists which are already answered, I'll skip those ones. And whatever are not answered, probably I'll take in. Sometimes there may be which is out of the today's current subject, but let's let us take it up. I think the very first question is under that line, like I'll club for a few of the questions as well. So what we do is the very first question is, do we require a dynamic pass box in material transfer from clean room to the passage? I will put that question to, I think, the Dr. Ranjit.
Yes, doctor. I'm sorry.
Do we require a dynamic pass box in material transfer from clean room to the passage?
See, the clean room, obviously, our participant is referring to the sterile area. And of course, it has to go out as it is coming in, same passwalk, it has to go out also in the passage, no doubt about that.
So I think in general, probably I will little elaborate on that is, in general, I think when you are looking at, there are two kinds of pass boxes are there, which are dynamic and static one. So when you are transferring any material from a area which is like, there's a difference on the classification side on both side of the pass box, then you require a dynamic pass box. But if the area classification is same on both side of the pass box, then we require a static pass box.
Right.
I think that answers the question.
Yes.
Then the next question is pharmacovigilance system is mandatory in the revised Schedule M? I'll put that question to Ramesh, sir.
Yes, yes, sir. This earlier it was voluntarily we are doing it, and we do have more than 20-25 centers in pharmacovigilance. As you rightly said, sir, it is a mandatory in as per revised Schedule M, sir.
The next question is this retest date of excipient is allowed in revised Schedule M? I'll put that to, I think, Dr. Vinay Nayak, because he's also there on the Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission as well.
Yes, I think retest date is still being respected, and materials have to be periodically examined for their keeping quality. So yes, the answer is yes.
I think probably what he is looking at is whether it is a retest date or the expiry date.
I think the industry relies more on the retest date than the expiry date.
Thank you. Every mistakes are not data integrity. So how can we elaborate data integrity levels implementation in our firm to maintain GDP? I don't know. Any volunteer who can take this question? Sanjit Singh ji probably.
Good documentation practices, basically. So basically, thanks, Harishji. It's if you look at the principles of data integrity, what we are looking at is, are there any state of omissions? Are you deleting some data? Are you substituting some data? Are you manipulating the data? Are you keeping the entries incomplete in any way? Are you skipping the entry of data at some data points which is required in predetermined forms and annexures and also data which is there? The question is very valid because that's what the industry is grappling with, that sometimes these are not intentions of data integrity. Sometimes these are mistakes which do happen, but we make sure that you have a good data integrity policy in place, and please incorporate these changes in your good documentation practices and make sure these 5 things: no omissions, no deletions, no substitutions, make your entries complete in all aspects, don't leave the blanks, the check boxes in open condition, make sure you write your conclusions right, and do not leave anything. And also, the last but not the least is, do not destroy any documents. Please keep your original document. Even if there is a mistake, make your next document ready and say, when earlier document was made, when is the new document which is made because of your improvement in practices, but keep both the documents in place so that you do not enter into data integrity breach. Data integrity breach is one area which you should be very careful. Thank you.
Swati, you wanted to say something?
Yes, Ranjit sir will have to leave. He has another webinar to go to, so let's thank him. And
thank you, Dr. Ranjit.
Thank you, Dr. Ranjit Singh ji. It's our pleasure you being with us on a Sunday morning with such a busy schedule. Thank you very much.
Very sorry, I have to leave in between. Sorry to the audience also. I have to address another webinar now. It's time up there, already 5 minutes delayed. And Sanjit knows it well. Okay, thanks.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Let's be in touch.
I think again for the audience, please put specific question, and I'm not taking some general questions like I got one question like, what is the key difference between the existing and revised Schedule M? I think that itself requires a different webinar, so probably I'll skip that kind of a questions, and which requires an elaborate answer for the paucity of the time. I think the next question is it necessary to do 100% sampling of inactive material? Ajay, will you be able to take this question?
100% sampling of inactive material? Yes. When you say 100% means all the containers, or yes, all the containers. I don't think. I mean, depends, right? You have to assess the material, what kind of material it is, and assess the risk. And based on the risk, you can define what criteria you're going to use to sample those containers. But if the risk is high, then you make that decision to sample all.
Yeah, in the context of India, when you look at Schedule M, says very clearly there is a specific requirement for checking all the containers of APIs. Excipients are, you need to have a statistical sampling as far as excipients are concerned. But yes, one thing is very important. If your excipient is very sensitive material, if a change of material attributes can contribute to a difference in your quality attributes of your finished product, then yes, then you need to verify each container of your excipients. But in general, when you look at, you need not check 100%, you can do statistical sampling.
Okay, the next question is, can we manufacture steroids, hormones, and general products in the same premises? I'll put that question to Ramesh, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. No, it is not. It is not. And now it is specifically is mentioned part-wise. Part 1 is general, and part 2 is a sterile products, and part 3 is a steroidal products. Likewise, it is not.
I think one more question to Ramesh, sir. I think if you look at the PQS, the very first paragraph is that first 2 paragraphs are senior management have ultimate responsibility.
Yes,
so
sir.
there is no definition of senior management in the, what do you mean by senior management?
Yeah, senior
is it the entrepreneur, founder, or is it somebody who is the site head or somebody like that?
Yeah, because there is one more word is also called responsible person also is given for the for the application submission and all. Likewise, when you see wherever in generally, because I have little law background, wherever the definitions are not given the act or rules, we can take it as general definitions. Likewise, if you go, so the senior management means who is the head of the plan in generally, who is implementing the policies and responsibilities overall.
Okay, I think there's another one, I think very interesting question. I'll put that to Dr. Vinay Nayak. If quality department observes some malpractice, which are in consent with the top management, which can have potential impact on quality, safety, and efficacy. It's a very controversial kind of a question. So what should be the quality role here of an employee?
I think the quality head should insist on what he is saying and press forward that these practices are going to land up the company in trouble. And he should put that in writing. Never mind if he has to sacrifice his job. I have done that also. So it is imperative that company does not cut corners to give medicines which are unsafe for the patient. So that is the job. The heart is the human body is like your pharmaceutical company. The brain is the marketing, the muscles are the production, and the heart is the quality control. They cannot compromise the quality. They cannot compromise on this aspect. And if they, so there are other abilities. Now there is also whistleblowing going on. Don't forget that. Even if you do wrong things, the FDA and other local bodies also are given the information. There's such and such bad practices going in our company. Please evaluate. So whistleblowing is going to kill the company any which way. It's like a drum which can be beaten from both the sides. So
I think we should not forget I think one of the India's leading #1 company collapsed a couple of decades back because of these kind of issues.
Exactly.
Anyway, going to the next question. Storage conditions are applicable for manufacturing and their warehouses, but there is no control in the market, in the shop pharmacy, unfortunately in India, where as far as storage conditions are there. So probably I'll put that question to Ramesh again.
Yeah. I'll take, sir, because now if you see the revised schedule M in the part 1, para 1 itself, it is clearly given part 1 or 2, part 1, para 1 or 2, sir. It is clearly mentioned that still as you said, the responsibility of management is not just because only at the plant level or life cycle of the product, which including the suppliers and distributor. They equally responsible. That means it says in their provision, their suppliers and distributor. In my view, it is till end of the product or the consumption of the patient, the responsibility lies on the manufacturer. Okay. It is given clearly in this revised schedule, sir.
I think the next question I'll put to Sanjit Singh, sir.
Can we have a different classification designed in same AHU? I don't know.
Well, if we are manufacturing, and in fact, this question is probably half, but one HU cannot be used for classification of two different types of classifications, because if there is one area which is manufacturing and operation is same, it requires a particular classification, and we are required to maintain that classification. It does not happen that one HU can actually provide two different types of classifications, because then it may really lead to a cross-contamination from one area to another area. What that person, I think, means is to have HEPA filtered air in one of the area and a 5-micron filter in the other area, which are basically managed through one HU. Even if somebody tries to do this, they will not be able to balance the air handling system, because one is under high pressure, another is under HEPA filtration, which will create a lot of pressure in one area, and you will not be able to manage the airflow patterns between these two. So this is not feasible.
Okay, I think the next question to Ajay, whether any change in flavor in the products are subject to change control, and why?
Yes, it is subject to a change control, and the change control will help evaluate whether if it's a like-for-like material, or is it change, or is there any component has been changed in the flavor. It also evaluates the source where this flavor is coming from, right? So I think this
answer. I think probably we'll have to do a kind of a risk risk assessment of what actual any change. I think probably whether it's a flavor or anything. I think the risk assessment very important.
I think what we normally do in the industry is called as the user test. So a small quantity is taken in R&D or whatever batch is taken, quickly subjected to 1, 2, 3 months of stability at higher temperature. If there is no difference between the original and the other, and all the specifications being the same for both the parties, then only you can make the change with proper documentation.
You're right, Dr. Naik, but I think a change is a change. So
yeah, but
whether it is one flavor to another flavor, change control is a must. There is no
I think not only a change in flavor. I think flavor with even if there is a change in the manufacturer, it's a change control.
Exactly. No. I think when they said flavor, it is like to like, apple to apple, and orange to orange.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So if that is the case, what I said is valid. If it is change of flavor to other, then there are other repercussions also, that even the physicians and all who are used to a particular product will also have to taken into confidence that the new thing is really working as good as the old flavor which was there. You know,
Schedule M, you need to inform also now. Earlier,
Yes, and I think the change control will solve the purpose of your documentation, assess the risk, and any regulatory implications coming out of that change, right? Now you can have a change control for different levels, like low impact change control, medium impact, or critical change kind of thing.
I think all of you, I think what you have done now is you have answered in general what is a change control, what are the impacts, how it has to be done, and what should be our regulatory obligation because in the Schedule M we need to inform the regulatory authorities. The objective of informing the regulatory authorities, they should be satisfied that the person who has done the change control, he knows the subject, he knows the science behind it, and what he has done is good, and he has done all the due diligence before the change actually happens. I think going to the next question, what are the objectionable microorganisms should be monitored in purified water during initial water system validation of pharmaceutical facility? I'll put, I think, to Dr. Vinay Naik, sir.
I think there are 4 pathogenic bacteria, which are E. coli, Salmonella, and 2 others. Those have to be monitored, Pseudomonas, and those have to be monitored, and they should be absent. And when it comes to the non-pathogenic bacteria, there are limits given that per 100 ml that the count should not be more than this or that. And in the whole water system, the samples have to be picked up at different points to also make sure that the results are harmonious or homogeneous, because one end, which is a dead lag, there may be more bacteria present, and the other end there may be very less, and also this whole water system should be under constant heat circulation of 70 to 80 degrees. That's where is the recommendation for the water system evaluation.
Okay. The next question is there a standard frequency or review period for COPPA effectiveness check as per Schedule M?
Well,
Sajid sir, yeah, or Dr. Vinay.
I can say, COPPA is, I've been given criticism about something that was not right. So I'm making a corrective action, and COPPA is a corrective action to the deficiency. So, some COPPAs can be closed out, like the door, in the end of the door has gaps, and therefore insects can crawl into the warehouse. That is a simple COPPA, and you can say, I'm going to do this within 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But then, if there is an engineering change in a aseptic area, where doors have to be shifted, air handling has to be modified, then you take a time period of 3 months and all for closure of that COPPA, and you work towards that with the engineering department. So it depends on the kind of work that you are doing for the COPPA. And you have to have in your SOP what you define as the minor change and what is you consider as a critical change, And suppose you want to do the entire upgradation of the tablet facility, then it's going to be 6 months time. And till that time, how you're going to manage the manufacturing, limited manufacturing, which you're going to do. So the COPPA determines how you're going to do it and what period you're going to do it.
Right.
Okay. The next question is if a site transfer product is manufactured and as per market required, the subject product is planned to release to a market. As this is process validation batch of the batch, process validation batch is charged for stability. Now, how many months is required to get the assurance to release the batch, or should we release the batch based on the COA release with the interim report?
Dr. Naik.
I think the trending of the stability of that batch for a number of years in the other factory has shown that the product is quite stable. All that you need to do is do a lateral comparison between the batch processing steps, which were at the old plant and the new plant being the same, the process timing being the same, the design of the equipments being the same. There's a large possibility that the product is going to be of the same quality. And hence, even a 1 month stability evaluation quickly and comparing with the previous factory can be good enough for release of the batch. You don't have to wait for the release of the batch.
Okay.
But you have to do all this homework of equivalence, and equivalence has to be established before you take a decision.
I think the whole takeaway is that there should be a documentation has to be right, and it has to be every action in your company right from beginning should be justified by a proper science.
That's right.
I think the next question is, what is difference between proactive quality risk management and reactive quality risk management? Probably Ajay can answer.
Yes, I mean, proactive is basically you are looking into your process prior to something going wrong, right? And identifying those risks, analyzing it, and implementing those controls and mitigation actions in place. Reactive is more after an event has occurred, where you try to fix the problems and try to put controls in place. So proactive approach is always better than the reactive one.
I think 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏 showed the chart which was defining this very correctly,
Yeah.
In his presentation. Yeah.
I also need one small clarification, sir.
Yes, sir.
It is
Please
not only proactive and reactive. There is a word called retrospect also there now in revised schedule M. Can you explain?
Yes. I think the way you say, I think our revised schedule M is even sometimes way ahead of the other, developed markets as well.
So what is that called? The retrospective quality system also.
Yes. I think Ramesh sir, I'll put that next question to you. Can you hear?
No. Yes, sir.
I think there is one general question.
I think retrospective will come after, if you have done about 20-30 batches in a year, tabulating that for the annual product quality review, you will say that the DT of the 29 batches was same, the dissolution was within a narrow window, the assay values were in the given parameters that you expect. That not OOS, it is not even OOT. It should not be out of the trends also. So then you have to make a review that this 29 batches in the whole year were reviewed retrospectively and they meet the quality standards as given in the manual. That is my understanding.
Ramesh sir, I think the next question is, can we get the IP grade raw API and get it tested for USP, BP or EP pharmacopoeia and use for manufacture of products for export?
Yeah. This is, I think, Mr. Dr. Vinay Naik is telling as most competent person. As per the regulatory aspect, in earlier there is a provision is there clearly. It was when it's when you bring a particular monograph or in a standard, and if it is complying, it is in any specific requirement of monograph is allowed. Now it is, I don't know specifically, I cannot say. I read twice, 3 times in a Schedule M, but I do not find the provision. Maybe I'll give it to Mr. Vinayak.
I think it still doesn't go that way, that if it is a product is of, say, even for APIs, we can have a clopidogrel, which is an IP, BP, and USP. So you have to manufacture to that standard with the process flow diagram that you're giving, because the kind of impurities in IP grade material, maybe that is crystallized out of isopropyl alcohol, and the EP grade material, which is twice the cost, might be crystallized out of methylene chloride. Now the impurities and the residual solvents and other things are different in these two. So a natural substitution may not be a good idea, because the supplier of excipient, whether you have an excipient from Dow Chemicals, you can easily go to another company and take that material and do it, because there have been problems in the dosage form, like black spotting and all that. Simply enalapril malate, if you change the source of magnesium stearate, you have a lot of problem between IP and EP grade. You find that the tablet appearance is quite different, the tablet opening is different, and dissolution is different. So I don't think it's a natural way of substituting. You have to subject it to user test again and evaluate the impact of that change also. It's not just not on the batch record itself.
I think
What is the conclusion?
I think this is where our please go on, sir.
What is the conclusion? Can we use?
No, my answer is no, not just by testing.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
I think this is where that importance of your pre-formulation studies and the vendor qualification, all that is so important.
That is right. That is where you go back to Harish. You go back to excipient compatibility studies.
Yes, exactly.
And again, you'll find, I said no. Even if you are inactive, is of a different source. It will not behave the same as it was in the development batch and in the scale-up batch and the bioequivalence batch. It will not be, and therefore there is a risk you are doing by making this just labeling, changing the standards of testing. Testing is not foolproof, because the kind of impurities in each of the monographs are different. So I think
I think it can. I would say that there is a bit of a gray area where if your pre-formulation studies and your product development report says that you have developed the product using that kind of a material and used the regulatory authorities have already approved it. I think at that place it can be used. It all depends on what are the kind of documentation you have done and what is the kind of compliance.
But the thing is like this, Harish. A drum or 8 drums of magnesium stearate of IP come to my gate. I'm accepting it on the checklist as IP. My protocol for testing also should be IP. I can't shift to BP just like that on EPA like that. So, the chain of custody is very important in any activity, because the regulator the MHRA inspector will ask you, why have you done this IP grade material testing as per EP? We don't really have a good answer to that,
Okay. I think the next question is Schedule M applicable for medical devices as well? Ramesh, sir?
No, sir. It is
not. Okay, well, that was the question I just... what is the current trend on application of machine learning techniques in process analytical technology in pharma manufacturing? I don't know, Sanjeet, sir, if you can...
Yeah.
Little out of context, but then...
Actually, we don't talk about that in Schedule M, but if you look at from the process technology, analytical technology, machine learning is playing a very significant role these days as far as the process is concerned, and also the other operations, high-risk operations, including the packaging operations, are concerned. So there are definitely, the processes which are developed through, quality by design, and also process analytical technology tools which were very sophisticated earlier have become very simpler. If you look at from the granulation process today, you can have an NIR probe in your system. You can have even fluid bed processors, which you have directly such kind of a probes. I have even worked on a system where at the packaging stage, finally, a tablet which is flowing on a blister pack machine, you have a probe directly on the blister pack to check whether each tablet which is passed on, whether there is any contamination in that product or not, whether there is any mix-up in that or not, whether the LOD levels of a product are uniform, whether there is any metal contamination on that, whether there is a particle contamination on that. So all these machine learning and or process analytical tools, they can play a very significant role in giving you a defect-free product, and which has become a reality these days.
I think we can go by one example, the TOC, the traditional TOC in the laboratory is different, and online TOC is also there. So online TOC is a more useful tool to know the water quality for last 24 hours, what is happening on that.
Right.
So this is the advantage that you see. And also I think some probes like Sanjit mentioned, the NIR probe, even when you're doing a complicated product like say venlafaxine, there are two polymer B and C. So that probe being put into FBD also tells you which kind of polymorph is being formed, whether it's as per the design you want. So it is a very useful tool now, and it will save a lot of time of doing manual work for continuous batches,
I think the next question is that product development part of QMS system? Dr. Vinay Naik, I think again.
Yes, I think product development is a part of the GMP again, because all the equipments that you're going to use in the product development, scale up of that, sending them those tablets made from the scale up batch for bioequivalence on human volunteers, they're going to solve the tablets. So all that requires GMP exactly the way it is required in Schedule M, and therefore the documentation for development also has to be foolproof. Actually, when you are doing an ANDA and other dossier filings in Europe and all, development report is an important component made by the company and certified by an outside professor as well, that it is correct. So it is important, and it encompasses it hugs the Schedule M by itself.
I think coming specific answer to that, if you look at the PQS chapter, clause number 1.5 A and B, I think that answers the question. I think exactly. There it is specifically mentioned the product life cycle as well as how do you design the product. I think that itself is the answer for that.
That you're right.
I think there's very important question, especially if you're looking at MSME is concerned. The small scale manufacturer says that usually our API purchase is in a small quantity and we buy from a trader. So how do we do a vendor qualification?
Even if he is buying from a trader, the label on that container will be saying, no, this is a amlodipine made by Ankur Drugs.
Correct.
So he can easily say to the trader, bhai, before I qualify you as a routine supplier, I want to go and see the GMP at Amoli Drugs, which is making this product.
So I think like extension of that question, do we also, apart from the manufacturer, we also do audit of the vendor itself, whether the storage conditions are correct, or whether whether he's buying from a licensed manufacturer, or is it a kind of a spurious API?
You're right. No, the link has to be established. Suppose I go to a distributor who is distributing that on behalf of Amoli Drugs, and I'm not buying from the company itself. Then I want to see the agreement between the companies that they're going to buying and selling agreement. Government permission, the drug control license is also required with the distributor. All those documents have to be verified, before I narrow down on you choosing him as the supplier. So documentation is a must to be certified,
I think the next question is to Ramesh sir. Is there any proposal to formulate a single format to maintain uniformity in compliance of revised Schedule M? Probably this is asked to whether do we have some kind of a checklist, uniform checklist. Ramesh sir, are you there?
He is there, but
probably
issue could be there.
His frame is frozen, I think.
His I think
also there.
Umesh sir is there. Can you? I don't know whether he can answer that. Umesh sir, can you answer this question?
Repeat the question.
Is there any proposal to form some kind of a uniform checklist for inspection, to have some kind of a uniformity of inspection as far as Schedule M is concerned?
As of now, it's not so. I think shortly we are going to monitor the same.
Okay. So probably I think the CDSU is coming out with the uniform checklist for the revised Schedule M as well.
Shortly they are coming, Harish.
Okay. Then I think I'm still a lot of flooded with the question. Swati, I think let me know when to stop. Otherwise, we can go and go on for another at least couple of hours.
Harish, sir,
No, it takes Harish. You even question and answer session has to be conducted in the afternoon.
Yes, correct, exactly. I think this is the kind of level of engagement we are having on this program, and the kind of interest they have. They want to understand more and more, and that shows the commitment. People want to really implement the revised.
No, shortly, Harish, I wanted to go once I guest lecture speech, then I couldn't able to move. Since once my guest speech was over, I became a participant. I learned a lot from this session.
Okay, thank you. I think that's a great the thing coming from you.
Sir, Harish, before we proceed, it is around 1. So just a request for everyone who are interested in getting involved in Q&A session, and those who have time, please be here. And those who feel that they should be leaving, they can respectfully leave the session. There's no hard and fast rule. We will try to be on time from the next sessions also, but Q&As are like that only.
The Q&A are so important, and I'm telling you, whether we like it or not, I think there'll be a couple of hours is too small a time to.
No, whatever session you heard in the topic, the QA is very vital to the session. People will learn a lot from this QA, right?
Okay, I think the next question is, do we get support from the government related to product testing? I think Umesh sir, I think you can answer again.
Yeah.
Do we get any support from the government for product testing?
Yeah, we do. Definitely you'll get.
Okay.
Actually, the answer is that government is helping now. All the liquid orals which are going for export, they are certified by the government labs, not by the individual companies. This you got to note, that the big help from the government for the glycerin and diethylene glycol and all that. Testing is done by certified government laboratories only. So that's
Harish, you have to come out with what more can be, like, if government can help you out.
I think probably for the information of all who they, apart from this, what Dr. Vinesh Naik and Umesh sir has said, there are a lot of schemes are there from state government and central government where you can put a common testing facility as a cluster. So that's where the government gives you almost like close to 70% subsidy, I think, which is great, and somebody has to take forward. And the challenge is not that you should get a subsidy or what kind of monetary help. The challenge is operation and maintenance. How do we, as a cluster, how do we, this is what my experience in the association says, the challenge is how do we run that common facility? I think that's the only challenge. Otherwise, if you can somehow put it, there are a couple of initiatives already there. One in, I think, working in Haryana. The second is on the way in Himachal Pradesh. So things are moving. Coming to the next question, is electronic BMR allowed as per Schedule M? Question specifically to Mr. Ramesh.
Yes, sir. Yeah, now it is as per the para 23, I think, as per revised Schedule M. It is given that what is a document, the explanation and the procedures, methodology, what is document, and data should be maintained in the digital form. It is allowed. So, and same way, even our IT Act also permits, and even in recent our criminal laws, which is the major 3 laws, there also the definition of document has been revised. Not only documents, it is also including digital form and videograph. Therefore, in my opinion, I think it is yes, we can do this.
Next question again to you, sir. I think there is a question. I think very interesting question. I think there is a cluster where the product development center has been established now, and they want to do a development work. So, what is the kind of how to get a license, and what is the kind of license required? Can you hear?
You are audible, Harish sir.
Ramesh sir, were you able to hear the question?
Yeah. What is the question, sir? Repeat.
There is one cluster which they are coming out with putting up a development lab. So, and they want to do product development. So, how to get a license and what license is required?
The product development wise, no. See, as you see, earlier also you are discussing on the cluster analytical labs. That is one part, just I want to tell. So, approved labs are permitted, but in the cluster, but except I think with respect to the category of sterility. So sterility facility should have its own plant. So other than this category, I think we are permitting. as per the regulations permits, one aspect. Another thing that no developments, if it is in a cluster form, yes, we can, we may consider, sir, range and all. And as you know, it is in a form 29 for test analysis.
I think the test license has to be
Yeah,
taken.
test license in form 29.
Yes, sir. Okay. What is the shelf life of finished product against shelf life of API? Is there any change in revised Schedule M? I think again, I'll put this question this time to Sanjit Singh. Sanjit Singh ji, if you are there, or Dr. Vinay Nayak.
I think this was a mystery which was going on for so many years, but I think now Schedule M has clarified that the shelf life of the API has no relevance to the shelf life of the formulation. They have been segregated now. So because the product environment, when you formulate, you know, there are some stabilizers and all also added, where the shelf life of 2 years of API remaining can be 3 years in the formulation. So they are not interrelated now, that is for sure.
So stability data and the risk-based analysis is what is required. Yes.
How does the revised Schedule M address environmental controls in pharmaceutical manufacturing? I think again, Sanjit sir, if you can.
Environmental controls?
How does revised Schedule M address environmental controls in pharma manufacturing?
So I think, you know, this time the revised Schedule M is very clear about the classification, the environmental controls which are required. And if you look at specifically both in the part 1 as well as the part 2, the environmental controls are specified very clearly, which are required in the pharmaceutical manufacturing, whether it is oral solids or liquids or sterile products.
Okay, I think one very important common question everybody has is all the non-sterile API manufacturing, the raw material identification is required for individual containers.
Yeah, so I think this time the Schedule M is very clear about it, that though it is a requirement that every container of API should be sampled for identification check and also for a pooled sample analysis. But there is one exception, that if the facility which is manufacturing this API, it is dedicated for only that particular API, and you do not have any risk of cross-contamination with other APIs, then this particular requirement of sampling from each container, it can be waived depending upon your own internal audit and analysis. But from Schedule M point of view, they have given you flexibility to waive off individual ID check if the facility is only manufacturing that one particular product.
I think this is where that importance of again and again vendor audit
qualification
as well as risk assessment. I think a combination of both will give an answer for everything.
Exactly.
So I think although it gives you flexibility in whatever you want to do, but it also makes the manufacturer responsible something goes wrong.
Correct. Yes.
Exactly. I think because there's a similar question, there are 400 containers coming in, so what do I do and all that. Anyway, empty hard gelatin capsule shells have storage condition as 30 and 60 temperature and RH. But in stability class 4B, if we put it in a higher temperature and RH, so what is it correct like? Dr. Vinay.
Yeah, but the answer is this, that empty capsules, when they come in polythene bags in corrugated boxes, they're more susceptible to any growth or anything. The temperature goes up or temperature or humidity goes up. But when you're talking about dosage form, you already put it in a blister or a bottle and has got a induction sealing on top of it, and it is more securely packed as such. So generally it has been seen, you know, when we do stability studies for any new product or anything, we don't do it by itself. We always run the innovator sample along with it. So if there is a fall in potency of 10% in the innovator sample at the end of the 3rd month, so will it be applicable to your product as well. So accordingly, then you have to give the storage conditions of lower denomination, you know, rather than saying store below 25, you say store between 15 and 30 degrees, 25 degrees. So the robustness of the product is more when it is packaged than in the hard gelatin capsules being in the box in the polythene bags itself. So that is my thinking.
Okay, the next question is whether can we have a common granulation for tableting and capsule?
Yes, that should be possible. There's no problem in that.
Yeah, correct.
There is also practice also going on. No?
Okay.
No, but that is okay. I mean, finally, both are blended and one is filled in the capsule and the other one is sent to the compression machine. That's about it.
Correct.
I think, Ramesh sir, I think the next question is challenging for you. Can we manufacture cephalosporin in the same facility as where we make beta-lactams?
No, because I go as per the provisions of the schedule revise M. So what I can say, generally the practice, people will go dedicated facilities only, but rule is not silent on that aspect. That much I can say.
Okay, what is the AHU classification for external products? Sanjit sir.
So, if you look at all derma and creams and ointments kind of a products as a good manufacturing practice, and just to make sure that there is a control on the processes, class 100,000 is kept as a one baseline classification for all even external classification products.
Okay. I think the next question to again Dr. Vinay Naik sir, is that skip testing can be done if already analyzed 3 batches based on the trend of raw material?
See, sometimes companies do miss out the stability intervals and all. I presume they are asking from this point only. Skip testing is possible provided you have a lot of data on record which says that one interval missed out will not have an impact on the quality. Skip testing would be allowed, but it has to be backed up by a scientific rationale. You see, now, for example, there was a company which was inspected and they found that 6 months, 9 months samples were not analyzed. That the company was smart. They did what is known as bridging studies. What they did was the control samples were kept at 30-60 and also the stability samples on the same condition. So they pulled out 3 or 4 batches of 6 months and 9 months from the control sample and analyzed and did what is known as bridging studies. And the regulatory authorities were more than pleased to accept it because there was good scientific rationale behind it. So that is the answer to it.
Harishji, just to add what Dr. Naik said, for stability, he elaborated, but in general, the Schedule M is very clear that you can use skip testing depending upon if you have a lot of data for the history of the supply of that material. You have already qualified the vendor. In that case, skip testing is allowed, provided you have a risk-based skip testing procedure in place.
I think exactly. I think that is where the importance of data is there, computerization, validation of your computer systems. I think this is where every time when DCGI talks about, he talks about data. I think this data is so helpful and can make your processes faster. And not only that, you justify what you are doing. I think the next question is nitrosamine analysis mandatory for every drug? Ramesh sir. Yeah.
We'll see. Let Mr. Vinay Naik say now.
I think at the moment, there is no specific individual monograph which says nitrosamine products should be analyzed for release. But there is a general chapter on nitrosamine which is included in IP that is to run parallelly now and they generate data. And after a couple of months in the addendum of IP, they will say now that that this becomes compulsory now. Well, as far as US and Europe are concerned, nitrosamine testing is compulsory, okay? And batches have been rejected from other countries and they have been brought back here as a recall for failing, particularly metoprolol, the metformin and other valsartan and all these molecules. They definitely fail in the nitrosamine testing if it's not controlled at the manufacturing stage. So at the moment, no. It is not compulsory on Indian products, but yes, in very soon, individual products will come out with the stringent limit of 0.25 and all that, So it's likely to happen now because we are not far behind USP or EP in the quality standards. See, elemental analysis came 2 years back in USP and EP. Now it is in IP as well. So we are catching up fast.
Okay, cleaning sample analysis, is it required to be done if the production is done on a campaign basis for the same product?
If it is done even on a campaign basis, you have to really look at what is the kind of a buildup of the API which is happening in your equipment. And if your equipment are getting dried up and you keep it like that in the evening and you next start the campaign for the next product, even if there is no product changeover, there is only a batch changeover. After a certain period of time, maybe 3 batches to 5 batches, you have to make sure that you follow a type B cleaning, which is followed for a product changeover, rather than only continuing that campaign continuously without any study in place. So cleaning verification must be done through a risk-based approach on cleaning validation. Once you have a cleaning validation data, you need to do a cleaning validation of a campaign and not an individual batch. In that case, that's the only equivalence you need to establish. If your commercial manufacturing is going on a campaign, you need to have a cleaning validation performed on a campaign. Recently, a company has been given a warning letter just a few days back, exactly on the same thing, because they were doing a commercial manufacturing on a campaign basis and the cleaning validation was done on a per batch basis. So this is generally a confusion, and people sometimes continue these batches for a very long time, which has to be backed up by the data of cleaning validation and cleaning verification studies.
Another thing I'll add to that, what Sanjit said, there are some systems now called as hydrojet systems, pressurized hydrogen, pressurized water sprays, with steam and with surfactants also. Those can be used in cleaning where the risk of, for doing it for every batch is not there, After every batch, if you use the hydrojet system in 15 minutes, you get a better cleaning than using some tumblers of methanol and ethanol and all that. That is no more used in the industry. So hydrojet system is the answer to proper cleaning.
Okay, I think next question I'll put to Ajay. Is any whole time studies required for bulk solution for product in sterile formulation, or we should establish, or we should go for established during media field execution? A bit of, I don't know, I also couldn't understand the question. I'll repeat the question again. Is any whole time studies required for bulk solution for product in sterile formulation?
Yes, I would say yes. It is required, but I'm not sure what Schedule M requires, but it is required for the bulk whole.
So, Harish, I will just add on to what Ajay said. A very important aspect in a sterile product is the bioburden. So when you look at a bulk product which is ready for further stages, maybe filtration, maybe filling and other stages, it must have a bulk hold time that is a maximum hold which you can have till you start your next processing, whether it is sterile filtration or it is meant for directly the filling, because then you need to have a bioburden studies carried out at various stages in this process to assure that the bioburden is not more than what you have actually validated during the process validations. So that is where it is required. The answer is very yes, and it has to be backed up by your data of bulk hold studies carrying out the bioburden.
Okay. The next question is surface disinfection by UVC light is really worth looking at compared to fumigation?
So generally, nowadays, in fact, regulatory agencies across the world, we have seen situations that the UV light is becoming one area which is, people have validated one processes with a UV light in place, and then they see that the effectiveness is lacking. And really, there is a lack of data available throughout that the UV light is effective in disinfection procedures and sanitization procedures. Even today, there are some areas where the subject matter experts are saying that, from your chambers, for example, dynamic pass boxes, which are having a UV lights in place, you should remove that because the efficacy of that is not established. So if you have, for example, if you are fogging using a hydrogen peroxide or any other approved sanitizing agent or a disinfectant agent, you should use that in a cycle rather than relying on only the UV light. That there has been a lot of data now available showing there is a lack of effectiveness of only UV light in the facilities.
Okay, the next question is, I think again,
I would request you to please have a look at the time, because many people would be,
I suggest, we can have a pool of these questions and then, can be sent across to people to respond, because otherwise I think we can sit whole day to
Yeah,
answer the
exactly.
questions.
I think the last two questions I'll take. I think one question is important when you're looking at vendor validation or vendor audits, and especially with respect to MSMEs. Now, if you look at many of the APIs and excipients are coming from a foreign source. So how do you do that audit for those kind of sources?
Answer is that you could do that to a defined checklist. Like virtual audits are done, no? Same way you can have a virtual checklist which is sent to them and ask all the details, what is the cleaning methods, how is the segregation of the finishing of the product. All the questions can be answered, and then you can ask photographic evidence also of the cleanliness and all that. And based on that cleaning, the vendor audits are accepted. Then no problem on that.
I think this is where I think I asked you this particular question specifically. When we talk about vendor audit, the whole understanding is whole misconception is we should actually physically go and do the audit.
No, not
so
necessary.
I think currently what we are looking
Not
at is a
essential.
virtual audit is one, and
is
also the documentary audit.
Yeah, document checklist audit.
So it can be a two find. One is your factory, or what are the kind of certifications they have, what are the whatever the self inspection they have done.
Also, their recent inspection reports also they can send you, once in 2 years.
And the third thing is that what they're looking at. So those product specific data, they can ask for it, analyze 3 batches of samples, and then take the call. Probably, I think that works.
Yeah, this methodology we are accepting. So not only in the domestic, and even when we accompanied with international regulatory agents, the same procedure has been accepted.
Okay.
In fact, what we have done in FOPE is we have asked all our members whether because many of them are small scale manufacturers, what we can do is subject to the approval by the regulatory authorities, the FOPE will appoint an expert and do a kind of a common audit for various for one particular thing for various manufacturers. I think orally, I think DCGI has said we will accept it, but then I think it depends on how it takes possible. I think one last question, what I will take is regarding the manpower. I think that there is a whole issue is in India is the skilling of the manpower. I think the kind of skilling and upgradation which is required for if you're looking at 10,000 manufacturing unit is mind-boggling. So how do we? I think I will put this kind of a general question for all the panelists to quickly finish off in a minute, each of you. Start with Sanjit sir.
Rishi, can you please repeat? There was some glitch here. I couldn't listen.
So the question is the kind of manpower upgradation and skilling upgradation is required for effective implementation of the Schedule M, and the kind of work which is required for 10,000 factories which are there in India. So what do you think is the way forward?
Yeah, I think, Harishji, if you remember our last session, and I said that, we can create fantastic facilities, create fantastic equipment, but the real challenge is people. And today we have a scarcity of skilled, knowledgeable subject matter experts in each company. And if we look at on a platform basis, I would say that, we need to really create in each company people who are trained, they can be trained in-house, they can be sent out for training by subject matter experts. There are facilities available now, even in India. For example, there are facilities for sterile products in Bangalore, which PDA is organizing, and there are other areas as well. But there is a need to make sure that there are people both in manufacturing, quality control, and quality assurance to become subject matter experts who can really train other people within the company. And how it is possible is to, really take the help of subject matter experts, or even a mentorship or a consulting companies, or people who are available today. Number of people are available in the country who can help small and medium scale enterprises to create a training for their SMEs. And this should be engagement exercise. It should not be one of, something which happens in a week or so and then you forget about it. There should be a hand-holding process which should continue for a longer period, because if you create your own SMEs within your company, this process is sustainable. within the company. We cannot depend on outside support for a very long time. So we need to create a retention of people. We need to hire people well. You need to create motivation, pay them well, and also create certification for them so that they remain engaged with the company for a long time.
I think IPA is now coming out with a training center where what Sanjeet has mentioned can be done now. They have already acquired land in Ahmedabad, and top 20 companies have contributed to that. So all the machines and hands-on training will be given in that facility there. We should be coming up within a year or so. For the details, you can also talk to 𝐿𝙑𝙀𝘀, who is the person from Sun Pharma. He is the project in charge,
Mr. Ajay Malesha, I think what do you sitting at US, what do you suggest we should do like?
So I think I greatly agree with what Mr. Sanjeet said, right? I think the company should invest in resources, build up a good training plan, or send them out to a consulting company or where the trainings are offered. The one of the critical things I want to highlight here is the effective collaboration between the teams in the organization. The team should not be working in silos. They should be collaborating whenever there is an opportunity. There should be a cross-functional training within the organizations for different people. I think those kind of culture and having those quality mindset would definitely help people learning and maintaining those systems.
Thank you. Ramesh sir, I think your last word or from
Yeah,
your
I
side.
started with manpower resource constraints. So the same point coming in the end also. Okay. So this I would like to put in two ways. So as you said, you just started about the manufacturing and industry prospect, whereas in the regulatory also we have the same issues. So that is being now, the CDSO has got now recently a division headed by additional, that is joint director level. So he has been training state officers, central, like he is harmonizing or is giving training to all kind of people to have our regulatory officers. In similar way, I'm thanked to the Mr. Sanjeet Singh Ji, who is referring our PTA in Bangalore. So that is one aspect. It has been long term we have been doing, sir. Likewise, in other states also they're having. And more than that, I would like to come to the point. It is not that manpower shortage, because when you compare to the pharmacy colleges and output of the pharmacy graduates is compared to the required demand. And not only the pharmacy, we have been industries engaging other than pharmacy, like science graduates and biotechnology, biochemistry, all we have got, and manpower is there. So only thing, I am finding for a gap between hand holding of the industries of these people, maybe giving training, maybe taking care in a proper way, of giving in a suitable package like that. If that comes in a truly, I think this will be resolved.
Yeah, I would like to say one thing. While being the president at one of the companies, the regulator said, these workmen are doing this work. What do they do? I said they are in the monsoon months, they are in the paddy fields. And the remaining time when the contractor brings them, we hire them for doing the work. He said, no. We would not like to see the temporary workmen handling a product of pharmaceuticals. They said they can be used for gardening, cleaning, moving stocks in the warehouse, etc. But when it comes to manufacturing, where machines are involved, this is some hint I want to give to the industry. You go for ITI graduate, ITI students, or you go for diploma engineers. Those are the ideal people to run your machines. And when we looked at the salary structure also, we were paying some 10,000-12,000 per month to the temporary workmen. Just by addition of 2 more thousand, we were getting ITI and diploma good students from good colleges in Gujarat, and that really helped us. So keep this in mind, that there are different ways of circumventing a challenge. This is one of them.
Harish,
1 minute.
Yes, sir. That's what I wanted to come to you.
No. Ultimately,
please.
I heard Sanjeet has rightly pointed out, because whatever you do, however you motivate your person, ultimately you should not let them go out of your factory. Right. Because you spend so much. Ultimate means you should not let go of, because he's your person who has know everything. You train them, you motivate them. Ultimately, the pay comes. It pays the bottom line, right? You should not let them. If you have a well-trained person in your factory, I think implementing Schedule M is not at all a problem.
Absolutely. Okay, I think this is where the role of associations like Dr. Vinay Naik said about IPA, And this is our Pulse initiative of FOPE, I think is going a long way. The kind of awareness it has created across the whole spectrum, all across the country and maybe now abroad, India is changing. And the
Yes.
kind of skilling is also changing. And I also like to mention here that we as FOPE are working together not only on this platform, we are also working with the Life Sciences Skill Development Council. And I'm happy that this time Government of India has given so much of importance and budget to the skilling part. And we have a proactive Secretary 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗲 ji. He was so keen on skilling, and the India is in right hands. So thank you, all the panelists, and for patiently answering all the questions and answer. Over to you, Swati.
Thank you, Harish sir, and thanks all the panelists. And to the last question, Harish sir, as a platform, we have created a lot of courses, and the data shows that students are taking those courses. These are QA, QC, and production and all that. That data is backing that students are also interested in learning, and I hope there's some academia industry collaboration that bridges the gap quickly for them. So that is all from our side. Thank you, Dr. Vinay. Thank you, Dr. Sanjeet. Thank you, Ajay. Thank you, Dr. Umesh. Thank you, Ramesh sir. Thank you, Harish sir, for joining us today. And thanks to Dr. Ranjit, who had another webinar today. I hand over the session now to Mr. 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗃𝗍𝗔 PS, who is the chairman from Telangana and Andhra Pradesh of FOPE, to present his closing remarks and vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Swati. I think I'm speechless because there's so much of knowledge enrichment during the last 3 hours. I think it went beyond 1 p.m. It's almost 1:30. Still, more than 300 people are gluing into the session. The Q&A is definitely icing on the cake. Well, to start with, Mr. Sanjay Gupta, our General Secretary, has welcomed the gathering with all the elaborating on the theme of the today's webinar. You can say seminar. It's kind of a seminar actually. The pharmaceutical quality systems, which is the most critical component of the revised schedule today. And big thanks to Dr. Umesh Garu, the drug controller with chief guest today. I'm really surprised and so thankful to him. Initially, he said he will go after delivering his initial chief guest speech, but he is glued to this, and he has acclaimed that because of the quality of the seminar, he had to stay put till the end, keeping all the other works in abeyance. Thank you very much, sir. Mr.
Thank you.
And what you said, a couple of lines, I must share with the audience. 300 are still are glued, and several hundreds are still viewing on other platforms like YouTube and LinkedIn and other platforms. You said the pulse of the patient is dependent on the quality of the medicines we produce. So you also acclaimed that the Pulse program initiated by the PharmaState Academy and the FOPE, definitely you applauded correlating to the pulse of the patient. Thank you very much, sir, for your and of course you also agreed that it is a little difficult for complying with the revised schedule M 250 crore turnover below all the companies by the scheduled time, but it's not really impossible if you have a will to do it. Another one you told is that the quality systems, if they are robust and there is a commitment from the top to bottom, they are implemented in the true spirit, the drugs rolled out from the factories will be safe and efficacious, sir. That is very, very important. And you said the very first paragraph of the revised schedule M is PQS, and another one, the concluding remark, it's really heart-touching. Dharma Rakshita. If we safeguard the Dharma will safeguard us. Similarly, the Pharma Rakshita. If we protect our own pharma industry, it will protect us back. Otherwise, there is no existence for all of us. There is no meaning for all of us. We being the stakeholders of the pharma industry, unless we protect the industry by complying to the rules, by complying to the revised schedule we are talking about. Thank you very much, sir, for the chief guest address.
Thank you.
And then the trainer of the day, though Dr. Ranjit Varishkar is not there today, after that he has to catch up with other webinar. I must tell a few lines about what he has told. He's a very, very well established trainer and a great human being, a friend for us, all of us. For me, almost 20 years, I know him. What he was saying, the patient cannot see quality, but he expects quality. There is a big meaning in it. And huge problems because of the mix-ups, contamination, and cross-contamination. They are leading to huge problems. Even the banning of the organizations also to produce any products. I think that one must be aware. All the manufacturers like us has to keep it in our mind. The quality cannot be tested into products, but quality has to be built in by design, QBD. That's very vital. What he was telling. And then he was analyzing on the PQS in detail, especially when he's talking about the patients assume the drugs are safe, they deliver the same, they perform consistently, and are made in a manner to ensure the quality, because we should not defy the belief of the patient, we being the manufacturers. And then the revised schedule M, the main objectives is elaborated on all that. The products are safe, effective, and high quality, all processes, facilities, and avoiding mix-up, personnel involved in manufacturing, product meet required standards, product minimize human errors. That, in fact, I must say, FOPE is also conducting a human error reduction workshops and in the multiple cities on the physical basis is a training workshop. I must remind the people. And the patient-centric products is talking about the quality cannot be tested into products. Quality has to be built in design, which we already told. The comply with license GMP for safety, products consistently meet quality standards, implement, maintain the quality system. And he has emphasized on senior management to ensure the effective implementation of the PQS. Unless you have a spirited commitment from the senior management, not just to please the auditors, but to believe that their products have to be efficacious. And I remember several of my friends, including Dr. 𝐒𝐜𝐡𝐞𝐝, late Dr. Ranji Reddy, and also recently Dr. 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗏𝗃 of Laurus Laboratories, when they said, Chakravarti, our products may be consumed by our daughters and our granddaughters from the same factories. If you keep that in mind, I think our will act very responsibly. I think that is a very fitting statement from the manufacturers. And he has touched upon effective PQS, assurance of quality. And finally, the opportunity is also achieving the right first time, robust PQ systems, etc. The satisfied regulatory agencies and customers. And then the summarized, the reduce product variability, enhances quality compliance, reduce risk to patients, enhance patient benefits, reduce cost, improve credibility and image. I think it was a wonderful workshop conducted by the trainer, 𝐿𝐼. And then the panel discussion, what can I say about it? In fact, I was speechless until Swati reminds me I need to do the vote of thanks and closing remarks, because each and every question I was also following judiciously and making a notes of it. I must remind all the viewers and please connect it to the PharmaState Academy and the FOPE pages on the LinkedIn continuously. If you're not following, please follow both the pages and also follow them on the other social media platforms also. And keep all of you, please give the feedback forms in the stipulated form already given to you through our WhatsApp channel and other areas. That this will go a long way for you, the beneficial for you also. And also the several questions which are still remaining to be answered. You can still share with the PharmaState Academy and our WhatsApp group, and they will be answered in duly. And I must say, I must thank Dr. Vinay Naik for his knowledge, commitment, and I'm really so glad to see you, sir. Right from the beginning, you are glued to the screen and you're listening and answering to all of us. And such a veteran, and not to forget the other drug controller, Sri Ramesh Garu from Karnataka State Government. You really have been there from the beginning, answering all the questions very judiciously. Of course, not to forget our Dr. Ajay from USA. I think it is 2:30 a.m. still in the morning, but amazing. 4 in the morning. 4 o'clock. You awake all through the night to sacrifice your Saturday night. Really, hats off to your commitment, sir. And I'm very glad. And of course, our own people, I can say, Dr. Sanjit is my brother, actually. What can I say about him? The last 25 years. He is the chief mentoring this and actually the Pulse program under the Swati's PharmaState Academy. And our own Harish Jain, the way he conducts the Q&A, it's like a wonderful moderator, and he gives his comments in between while posing the questions to all the learned audience, learned panelists. I think it's amazing. It's amazing. The Q&A is amazing, and really, I'm thankful to. I don't want to, because I wrote down all the question Q&A. I wrote down what are the significant questions again. It's only a repetition. If I tell all of them, I'm not going to tell everything. But definitely, it's a big opportunity for all the pharma stakeholders. I'm very glad. Almost 1,000 people are getting registered every time, and several thousands are glued onto the TVs through their other social media platforms. Get in contact with PharmaState Academy in big numbers in the future. There are 23 more sessions coming up in the coming weeks. In fact, today, I had some other work. Harish told me you have to be there. I thought initially I'll come for the only closing remarks time, but without listening to all of you, how can make a closing remark? So right at 10 a.m., I'm sitting before the computer, and my efforts are really fulfilled, and I'm very happy for that. I learned a lot from all of you learned people. Please stay put to the Federation of Pharma Entrepreneurs and the PharmaState Academy continuously for getting enriched yourself, and wish you a happy Sunday. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗃𝗏. I think great closing remarks, and I think you have been there. I've been seeing all along, and
Yes.
I think great. I think this is where the closing remarks are so important.
You covered all the points, 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗏. You covered all the points. Yeah, good.
Thank you very
These
much.
are FOPE's heroes, sir.
I think most of the questions are from Harish pocket only.
No,
rather than the audience.
It is true, sir. Some of them is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, there were almost 300 questions. So regarding questions, first of all, thank you, 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗏 sir, for quickly summing it up and doing the vote of thanks. For the questions, what we are doing is we are giving you a Google form. Please put in your name and send us the question. That way we will be able to answer most of them, most of the unanswered questions. And thank you all the panelists for giving us extra time. We are trying our best to stay on quality and the time limit, but it is not happening. So we'll revise somehow how to do it on time limit. But Q&A sessions are such, our experiences have been such in online platforms that 1 hour will go for the expert session, but another 2 hours will go for a Q&A, because these get interesting and these get
very critical also.
Yes.
It has to be that way only. It has to be that way.
Yes, yes.
Dr. Swati, I just want to say thanks to Dr. Naik, because despite his very busy schedule, he had to actually had another moderation done for another program, but he accepted this. Looking at my request, he said I can't say no. So I'm really very thankful to you.
My pleasure. We are friends for so many years.
I think what we can see is that even after 3 or 4 hours of session, he has been there continuously. I can see his smiling face and the kind of positivity he brings to the session. And what is this? He wants to answer all the questions. I think that is great.
Harish,
the kind of knowledge I myself shocked.
When Ajay can smile in so early morning, why can't we?
Yes,
that's true. Very true. Very true.
I think great, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. Naik, Dr. Ajay Malesha ji, and Sanjeet Singh ji, 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗏, Ramesh sir, Umesh sir, and Swati. I think great. And let's meet again. Wait for the next probably on 11th of August.
Thank you.
Yeah, Harish sir, we will announce the everything in the groups also. So asking everyone to please stay put in the groups and be connected with us at our social media platforms. The announcement will be made soon for the next sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure hosting you today.
Everybody.
Have a nice Sunday, all of you.
It was a pleasure seeing you all and meeting you all, and hope we'll meet one day in person.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wonderful experience I had. Wonderful experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you, Vinay sir. Thank you, Mr. Yeah. So we will close off now. Please give us the feedback. It is most important part of the session for us as a platform. So we look forward to receiving your feedback for the session. Thank you so much. We are signing off now.